Jerry Payne taking down that putt.
We have a lot of fans there. I only brought 4 people, but I'm from like an hour up the road, so probably a lot of people here. I can say I won at least one hand.
The action at the Hollywood Poker Open is just getting started.
Lots of drama at Hollywood. Don't go away.
Having a World Poker Tour in the Midwest is great because I live in Dayton. It's only an hour away, so it's a really easy drive down here. It's one advantage I have over the other 5 players left at the table. They all have to sleep in a hotel room. I get to sleep in my own bed every night.
Win my 3rd WPT title.
Well, Barry Greenstein is eliminated. He's not going to win his 3rd WPT title tonight.
And Eric Langren, 2-time winner on the World Poker Tour, is going to have to wait a while to get that 3rd WPT title.
Daniel Negreanu is not going to win his 3rd WPT title here tonight. Freddie Deeb in dire straits. He's going to capture that 3rd World Poker Tour title tonight.
He's not going to do it.
To win this would be awesome.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. A lot of great poker moments right there.
Well, you're right, Vance. That's the cream of the crop that try to get 3 WPT titles. Those guys you just saw failed. We'll see if Carlos Mortensen can tie Gus Hansen with 3 titles by winning tonight.
Well, he's the chip leader. 6 players remain. We're going back down to the felt. A quick fold by Mike Mustafa. Jerry Payne also folding.
Now it's around to Carlos. He's going out as well.
Ravi Raghavan, the student out of Chicago, Illinois.
And he's got 2 deuces on the button and folds them. A little surprised at that.
Let's see what Chris Bell does.
Come on.
He's going to go all in with an ace-5 here. And Frank Callow is going to fold.
So the all-in bet by Chris working well there.
Thank you.
Incidentally, Chris, regardless where he finishes tonight, will become the 120th WPT Poker Made Millionaire. So pretty impressive.
He's got a great attitude. He's a great player. He is just missed being a superstar in the game, perhaps, but maybe he can turn that around tonight. All right, back to the table, and look at this young Jerry Payne picking up kings.
Jerry's on the short stack right now.
All in.
But picks up 2 kings and goes all in with them.
Yeah.
That's an overbet in my view. Blinds are only 10 and 20,000. Why would you bet over 300,000 here to chase everybody out?
Well, he is pushing them away. Everyone folding in a line. Only one to defeat right now would be Mike Mustafa, but he's got a pretty good ace-9.
And I'll tell you, I don't blame him for hesitating here because when a guy goes all in like that,
You got about 300 now.
generally you put him on a small pair or like an ace and a baby card. Very rare do people bet that much money with 2 kings right up front. You want action. You want to encourage action. You don't want to discourage it. But Mike does go out.
Might have had you ace 10.
You had what?
Ace 10.
Terrible fold.
And now we're going to talk to professional poker player Brian Devonshire.
There's absolutely a difference between the live and online players. The whole approach that they take to the game is completely different. The online players are taking it from a scientific standpoint. The live players are taking it from a psychological standpoint. The online players, they're technicians of the game. They're very skilled at the fundamental play and the mathematics of the game, but they're not skilled at the psychology and the live tells and the this and that. And Carlos is a master of live players and live tells and reading hands in specific situations. Like, it doesn't matter like the overall probability of a given situation. It matters like what the hell's going on in that situation right now. And Carlos played a hand on the way to this final table where he picked a guy's bluff off with a pair of jacks on an ace queen XXX board, and you know, and there was something that he did there that I don't know what he did, but he did it, and he did it well.
Well, I think Brian makes some good points there that the great online players are mathematical whizzes, whereas the great live game players are better at reading people and opponents.
Well, don't tell that to the great players like Jonathan Little, Faraz Jaka, also known as the Toilet, or Hippie Prahlad Freeman. All great online players, but also have great people instincts as well. But we will get back down to the game here.
Well, here Mike Mustafa picks up an ace-queen.
50.
He's going to raise it, comes in for 50,000.
Into Adam Sandler. Jerry Payne, who has a 4-5 offsuit. And he mucks that.
Well, Carlos in the small blind now looks down at a queen-jack. Carlos is what's known as a defender. He doesn't like to give up his blinds easily.
150.
And he's coming right over the top. Forget about Colin. He is re-raising here, and he's dominated, as you can see. So Could spell trouble.
Yep, Robbie going away and back on Mustafa.
Well, Mustafa just makes the call, doesn't come back over the top. So let's see the flop. Well, flop comes king 8-6. No help to either player. Well, Carlos is going to make the continuation bet, and by doing so, he's going to cause great problems for Mike Mustafa here.
There's 140,000. He sticks out there, and now Mustafa, hitting none of that flop, has a decision to make.
You just wonder if he didn't re-raise before the flop because it's the chip leader or because it's Carlos Mortensen. But either way, he's going to have a problem continuing with this hand as the king 8-6 flop comes out there.
Here's Carlos's girlfriend, Pastora.
Because he lost the lead in this hand and allowed Carlos to take it. Carlos is going to win the pot by making the continuation bet.
1-3.
Oh, yeah, that's how it's done. Muy bien, Carlos.
Oh, boy.
1-3.
I saw you. You had a 3. How'd you put it back? No way.
Well, the Matador could have got gored.
Nice hand, Mr. Mortensen.
Instead,
Bluff me, huh?
he waves the cape beautifully.
6 players remain at the Hollywood Poker Open. We're coming back with more action in just a moment here on the World Poker Tour.
One of the best players in the world today, Chris Bell.
I remember the first couple of times I got here, like I really wanted to win a title.
The bell has finally been cracked. Just wasn't meant to be for him to capture his first WPT title tonight.
At this point in my life, I kind of keep count with money. If they paid more for second, I try to get second. But if they pay more for first, I'm going to try to get first.
From St. Paul's, North Carolina, Chris Bell.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. And Mike, is it just me, or is Chris Bell's hillbilly accent getting stronger and stronger the more he's away from us?
Well, I love that line. If they paid more for second place, I'd try to get second. In truth, Vince, it really is all about the money out here.
All right, welcome back. Carlos Mortensen, our chip leader. Down to the felt we go. Frank Callow out of Liverpool, New York, folding. Mike Mustafa also out.
Round to Jerry Payne. He looks at the 10-5 of clubs. He's going to fold.
Yep, and here's the Matador.
Now our chip leader looks down at ace-jack on the button.
45.
And he's going to raise it to 45,000.
Into Ravi, the young 23-year-old online player, quickly mucks.
Well, he folds an ace-deuce suited, Vince.
But Chris Bell's going to stick around.
And he's got those suited connectors you like to see flops with, and here comes a flop. Queen 9-3, Chris out in front now with the 2 9s.
Yeah, he got a piece of it, and he's going to check.
And look at this, Carlos checks right behind him. Just has an uncanny sense of feeling when he's beat, and that's exactly the case right here.
Yeah, he is beat, and now Chris finally having to bet.
He's betting 35,000, a very small bet, into a pot that's got 112,000 in it, but just letting Carlos know I've got a little something.
Chris darting the eyes over to the Matador.
I know you don't have 8-3. 8-3 would be good right now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, indeed it would.
But I know you don't have that.
Good assumption there.
Yeah, these two guys are actually good friends off the table, but
All right. Yeah.
Carlos is going to lay it down, and here's a case where Carlos didn't make a continuation bet.
Show the 9. Show the 9 or the 8. Nice one.
Just felt like he might have got out flop there, and that was the case.
Now, what's amazing is Carlos said,
showed the
show
9.
me the 9. You know, if I asked
me
someone to
check.
show me a 9 when they didn't have to show it, they never do it. How does he do that?
Well, he's the only player in the world that's won the main event of the World Series of Poker and the main event on the World Poker Tour. So when you have that kind of status, you get respect. People do what you ask them to.
Oh, evidently. All right, back to the felt we go. Jerry Payne, a quick fold. And Carlos going to take a breather, goes out. Ravi also folding.
Now back to Chris Bell. Picks up a nice hand here. Got 2 10s. He's going to raise it. Makes it 60,000 to go.
Into Frank Callow.
And the 22-year-old poker pro out of New York folds.
They call him Frank the Tank, by the way.
Well, Mike Mustafa is going to make the call here out of the big blind with the king jack. So here comes a flop. Ace, ace 6. Chris still out in front with the 2 10s. Action on Mike. He's going to check.
Now, Chris, will he make the continuation bet? No, he checks there. Kind of surprising.
When a king comes off, Mike has the lead now with aces and kings. Action is on him. And he is now going to bet 65,000. Well, to compound Chris's problems.
Oh, boy.
He not only didn't bet on the flop, he's now paying off the guy when his hand is beat.
Okay, river card. Can Chris get lucky? No, it just gets worse.
Well, the board pairs king, so Mike has kings full, but leery that Chris might have been slow playing 3 aces on the flop, so he checks, and Chris Bell can only beat now something like 2 7s or 2 8s, so he checks also, and he is not going to like the way he played this hand. I promise you that. You might say the bell cracked here a little, Vince.
Chris Bell not taking that one. Mustafa taking the pot.
Chris, you look like you got sick of that river.
Well, he who hesitates lose big pots, as you can see.
Well, there you see the look on Chris Bell's face. It says it all. He knows he misplayed this hand.
All right, 6 players remain here at the Hollywood Poker Open. We're coming back with more action here on the World Poker Tour.
Tonight's episode of the World Poker Tour is brought to you by PlayWPT.com.
I went to school at University of Illinois in Champaign, and there's tons of other players from that area too. Andy Seth, he just finished runner-up in the Bay 101 in San Jose. And then the legend, obviously, Faraz Jaka, he FT'd the Bellagio Cup and then the 5 Diamond. He's pretty remarkable at this game. There's no question that it's maybe the player I am today, knowing those kids.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The Hollywood Poker Open continues.
Well, Faraz Jaka is currently the WPT Player of the Year, leader in points, and there you see another University of Illinois poker player, Ty Ryman, who finished 8th in this tournament. And Vince, I'll tell you one thing, I'd hate to have been in that dorm playing in that poker game. Wow, what talent.
Tough competition. And so at this final table, too, Carlos Mortensen, our chip leader, he's first to act right here. The Matador looks down at a 9-7 and folds. Ravi and Chris Bell also going away.
Over to Frank Callow, 22-year-old poker pro out of New York. Looks at King Jack of Diamonds, going to raise it, makes it 45,000 to go.
Into the former car salesman, Mike Mustafa, who's got a big hand, ace-king.
Yep, he's got big slick in the small blind, so.
I raise.
He's coming over the top. Let's see how much he's going to bet.
Quit the car salesman business to play poker. Been successful so far, and here's the raise.
Like 157,000 in total.
Jerry Payne out. Frank from Liverpool, New York, only 22 years old.
Yeah, these guys are second and third in chips. Not sure Frank wants to get involved with the King Jack here. And he doesn't, so he's going to lay it down. So Mike Mustafa taking down that pot by raising it up. And Vince, he says he's looking forward to taking his family on vacation with the prize money wins here, wherever he finishes. That's a nice thing.
So waiting for you to make one of your patented pushes.
Well, I shove on you, I'll have the blade every time.
Oh, if you would have did it, you would have been in bad shape there.
All right, and with that hand, the ante's going up to 3,000. Blinds 12 and 24. Action on Chris Bell. And he quickly folds a junk hand.
Over to Frank, he folds as well. Mike throws away the suited connectors there, the H7 of hearts.
And now it's on Jerry Payne, and he will not play. So around the horn to Carlos Mortensen.
Looks down at a big hand here in the small blind, 2 10s. But look at this, Vince. He just calls, does not raise, trying to camouflage the strength of his hand, and he's done so. Robbie says, okay, I'll see a flop. He's got the Jack-9. And a Jack comes right on the flop. Ravi has taken the lead.
Oh boy, things backfiring for Carlos, but he's going to put in a bet of 30,000. He's going to be kicking himself.
Well, Ravi.
Ship it, Ravi.
Caps his hand. His buddy Ty Ryman says ship it. Doesn't have any idea what he has, of course. But he has top pair.
All in.
And he does ship it.
How much is that?
$2.99.
Carlos says, how much is that? Well, Carlos now going to try to
have a 5.
Extract some information from him. Says you wouldn't do that with a 5, would you?
What's interesting here is this is Carlos in his like sweet Spanish manner, sort of sweet talking Ravi. He wants to get information, and look how he's doing it so subtly.
You show me A4? That means no, right?
He's kind of whispering sweet nothings into Ravi's ear.
That means yes. You show.
I don't show.
This is beautiful.
He says he doesn't show.
Send him a little box of candy while you're at it.
So that means you want me to call.
Oh, man.
He's figured the puzzle out, that's for sure, because the guy would want you to call if he saw your hand.
I guess you have the checks.
Wow.
Carlos takes his time, analyzes things perfectly.
I can't show that one.
Flash draw?
Huh?
Flash draw? Flash draw?
2 pair.
I can't say.
2 pair.
No, he didn't have, but he had like Jack 7 or
Jack
something.
5, man. Where are you going?
No. Jack 7? And close? Just say and close or no.
See, this is something I've forgotten how great of a sweet talker Carlos is.
You have the Jack.
I either had a jack or I had a. All right.
Just uncanny how Carlos seems to know when he's beat.
Yeah, I know. You at least got the club draw or you had the Jack. But it looks like more like you have the Jack.
Carlos? It was only 300,000. It was 30 yellow chips. That's it.
It's like he gives players truth serum and they tell him everything he wants to know.
As you know, to be a really great poker player, you got to have what we call feel for the game, and very few in the world have better feel than Carlos Mortensen.
All right, to the next hand we go. 3 folds in a row, and Frank Callow as well.
Again, Mike Mustafa picks up ace-king.
60.
This time he's in the small blind. He's going to raise it to 60,000.
Into the local. Jerry Payne, the short stack, peaks down to a queen 10.
I'm all in. Call.
Well, he's going all in. He's quickly called, so he knows he's up against it here. As the cards lie, he's about a 2-to-1 dog to win this spot and stay alive. And that's a quick trivia question. 2 poker players are Hall of Fame poker players from Dayton, Ohio. Who are they?
One of them is you, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay.
Who's the other?
I don't know. I'm in the middle of this hand. Here we go. Queen 10 versus ace king.
Well, flop comes 8-6-3 with 2 spades. So Mike's still out in front with the ace high. Jerry Payne needs some help or he's going to be our 6th place finisher.
And an ace of diamonds.
Jerry Payne gets a pretty good card
Well,
there.
7 of spades comes off.
You have the king
Well,
of
Jerry's
spades.
not crazy about it because there's 3 spades out there and Mike has the king of spade, meaning the queen of spade, the 10 of spade, the 9 of spade won't help him now. Must catch a queen 10 or a 9 offsuit to win this pot and stay alive.
Adam Sandler clone needs some luck on the river. Can he get it?
Nope, the board pairs 7s. So that's going to do it for Jerry Payne. He's our 6th place finisher. And Vince, the second half of that trivia question is Chip Reese.
All right, and there you have it. Jerry Payne, living up to his name, picks up 88,000, and just like that, we are down to 5 at the Hollywood Poker Open.
My play's fine. I have less than 20 big blinds. He has to have a big hand to call me and did.
Mr. Mortensen, I might be able to bust you, though.
Yeah, you're at a 40 with 2 balls. Man.
All right, Carlos, let's rock and roll.
Will the soft-talking Matador take this title? We're coming back with more action here on the World Poker Tour. Stay with us. Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The Hollywood Poker Open continues. 5-handed action.
And Vince, it's great to be in the Midwest playing a WPT event, no doubt about it. We're in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, which is just a few miles outside Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cheers, pal.
Yes, it is. 5 players remain, and our chip leader now is Mike Mustafa, the former car salesman. But right now, Carlos Mortensen, the Matador, goes to work. He folds.
Yeah, for the first time tonight, a new chip leader, and he's from the Midwest.
Ravi also out, so it's up to Chris Bell.
I'm all in. 228.
Who says all in with a pair of 9s.
Now Chris on the short stack, just moving in with the 2 9s.
It's up to Frank the Tank Callow.
And he picks up an ace high, Benson. He's a little suspicious. Chris might be a little bit of a desperado here, making a move with anything. May think his ace high is the best hand, but he lays it down.
Yep. Chip leader Mike going out. So just like that, Chris Bell going to take down a pot.
Yeah, the poker pro from Raleigh. Finally stacking some chips up.
Chris Bell, 38 years old. 3rd WPT final table. He's always entertaining. But let's go back to this hand. Now on Ravi Raghavan.
Yeah, he looks down at 2 6s. He's got 450,000 in chips right now, sitting in 4th place.
All in.
And he's going to push all in, Mike.
Wow, big bet.
Chris Bell with ace-7, not hesitating, goes out, as does Frank the Tank.
And Mike squeezing off an ace. And then a 5.
No, bombs away for him.
Yeah, Carlos shaking his head. He's got the 9-8 suited, but
Robbie,
you can't call an all-in bet there.
Ace of spades, the first card. I had it. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, it's going an ace.
My first card was an ace too.
Was it?
Ace of diamond.
So Ravi, the great online player, taking down that pot with a smile.
Nice hand, Robbie.
Yeah, just not fooling around with 2 6s, just moving in with him. Said, boys, if you can beat it, good luck to you.
And as you can see there, Mike Mustafa with close to 1.5 million. The Matador. Carlos Mortensen with about 1.2. Back down to the money pit we go. Frank the Tank first to act.
Well, Frank's sitting in 3rd chip position right now. Looks at a Jack-9 here. And he's going to open the pot in 1st position under the gun for 62,000 with the Jack-9 offsuit.
Yeah, he is starting to open up his game here. But right behind him, former car salesman Mike Mustafa with King-Queen is going to call.
Actually quit his job to play poker, and that's a daring move when you're the father of 4 girls, Vince. 16, 12, 6, and 3. I can tell you that. It's not easy being a poker pro as a family man because there's so much more pressure on you to win.
But he's been successful so far. But in this hand, both Carlos and Ravi out. And Chris Bell's thinking about it, but finally folds an ace-4. So we have 2-handed action. Jack-9 up against King-Queen. Who will get lucky?
And flop comes ace-9-5. So Frank out in front now with the 2 9s. Action's on him. And he is going to bet 76,000 and hope his opponent doesn't have an ace.
Frank the Tank putting down the double barrel of the tank.
Well, Mike just staring him down. Just thinking to himself, you know, wonder if I raise this guy, if I could take it away from him. Mike opts to fold and give the pot up. So nice aggression by Frank Callow. Takes the pot down for him there.
Being only 22 years old. Out of Liverpool, New York. That's just north of Syracuse.
He's played 4 WPT events. This his 3rd cash out of 4. That's impressive stuff.
All right back on it. Ravi this time with an uneventful Jack-3. Mucks his hand. Chris Bell also out.
Action back on Frank. He's on the button. He's got a 9-7 offsuit, but because he has position, he's going to pop it up here and make it 62,000 to go.
Just a 9-7.
That go.
Mike out, but Carlos going to stick around with a Jack-9 of clubs.
Now Frank has got to learn that Carlos is a defender. He's just not giving up his hands every time. Well, flop comes Queen 7-3, so Frank has out-flopped him. He's now got 2 7s. Carlos has nothing, of course, and checks. And Frank says, you may be Carlos Mortensen, but I'm betting anyway. 73,000.
Carlos the defender, but Frank the Tank is the catcher at this point.
Carlos very capable of coming over the top here, but opts to lay it down. Gives him credit for having something, which he does.
There's Frank's buddies, frickin' Frack, rooting him on.
Well, why not? Frank's on a roll right now.
I've only been 21 for like a year, and I've gone deep. You know, now we're here. It definitely will establish my name a lot more. Before, I was just like the random kid who, you know, just plays the stuff and just, you know, goes deep sometimes. But, you know, if I actually win this, then it'll...
The World Poker Tour. The biggest games, the greatest players, and the largest payouts on the planet. The WPT is a series of international high-stakes poker tournaments that can turn amateur players into millionaires and make professionals into superstars. With millions of dollars on the line, it's time for these 3 players to live the dream of fame, fortune, and the one thing money can't buy, a WPT title. Tonight on the World Poker Tour.
Hi, everyone. We are back at the Hollywood Casino in Lawrenceburg, Indiana for the dramatic conclusion of the inaugural Hollywood Poker Open. I'm Mike Sexton alongside Vince Van Patten, and this is the WPT.
And Mike, the first WPT final table at Hollywood Casino has been a great one. I mean, we've had lights, we've had cameras, and we've had a lot of big-time action.
Well, that's right, Vince. The 3 short stacks wasted no time in mixing it up. Online pro Jerry Payne shoved at the wrong time against Mike Mustafa.
All in.
Call. University of Illinois graduate Ravi Raghavan
All in.
fell victim to the pocket kings of Frank the Tank Callow. And Chris Bell, the poker pro out of North Carolina, could not win the race against Carlos Mortensen.
Then with the final three players nearly even in chips, Mike and Frank set their targets on Carlos Mortensen, the man chasing 2 WPT records. And they managed to put a dent or two in the armor of the Matador.
We'll have to see if Carlos can turn things around and cement his place in WPT history.
Well, the cash, the title, it is all on the line for these remaining players. Let's check the chip count and then go watch the bluffing begin.
Well, we started 4 days ago with 144 players. We are now down to 3. The winner tonight going to take home a WPT title as well as nearly $400,000 in cash. There you see the chip count of the players. Frank Callow, the 22-year-old pro out of New York, in first place. Mike Mustafa, pro out of Chicago, in second place. And Carlos Mortensen, 2-time WPT champ, sitting in third place right now.
The antes are 3,000, blinds 15 and 30.
Well, round to Carlos Mortensen.
Whoa.
And look at this. He picks up a nice hand. He's got ace-king here in the small blind.
And the Matador is getting the raising chips out. Makes it 90,000 to go, like he should.
How much should they on approximately?
800.
800.
Frank wants to know how much he's got left. It's about 800,000. Frank with the queen jack wants to see a flop, sitting in position, got the chip lead, makes the call.
So ace king up against queen jack. Here's the flop.
Well, look at that, Vince. Carlos bet in the dark before the flop came out there. He bet 150,000, and the flop comes ace-9 deuce.
And hits perfectly with the aces. Oh boy, you're in good stroke when that happens.
Well, Frank has no part of this flop.
But the bet in the blind can invite a call here for sure, and it does.
Well, Frank is going to make the call. That tells me he's going to try to take the pot away maybe later. Now another ace comes off, so Carlos has 3 aces with a king kicker. And he's going to check. And quickly, Frank checks right behind him with the queen jack. Now the board pairs 9s.
Oh, and Carlos is going to put a tower out there.
That's about 200,000 worth of chips.
And the tank quickly folding the hand, so things working very nicely there for Carlos Mortensen.
Well, there you see the graphic of the all-time money winners on the WPT. Daniel Negreanu out in front, but if Carlos finishes first or second tonight, he will overtake Daniel as the all-time money winner on the World Poker Tour.
Oh, the Matador, Carlos Mortensen, is one of the greats, no doubt about it.
Well, Vance, what's really impressive about Carlos is that for every WPT event he enters, he's averaging over 100,000 in earnings. That's far and away the best on the WPT for players that have entered 20 events or more.
Well, Frank the Tank this time looks down at a king-jack. Still our chip leader. He puts out a raise, makes it 75,000 to go. Here's the former car salesman, Mike Mustafa. He goes out.
Well, Carlos has the ace-10 suited here. Pretty good hand in a 3-handed poker game. It's good enough for Carlos to raise, that's for sure. He makes it 160,000 to go.
What do you have behind?
Look at this.
1 million.
You ask what you got behind. Now, Vince, he would know that answer because they asked him just the last pot. He just wants to hear Carlos talk a little.
Nothing wrong with that. This is poker, and the Tank is going to call him.
And Carlos bet blind once again.
He bet 160,000 blind.
Oh, and what a flop for Frank as he's flopped top pair here. He has taken the lead with 2 kings.
Yeah, he's outflopped the Matador.
Now, last time, Frank had nothing on the flop and called him. This time he's got top pair, and he's just going to call him again. Doesn't raise here.
Turn card showing up. 4 diamonds helps neither player.
Well, Carlos is going to check now. Didn't like it when he got called on the flop there. And Frank going to check right behind him.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, going to the river.
Oh, an ace comes off.
Ouch.
Carlos now has the best hand with 2 aces. So the free card that Frank gave him is going to come back to burn him.
Yep, the Tank let Carlos outdraw him there.
Well, Carlos is checking here.
Now that's surprising.
Well, he's not going to put his opponent on 2 kings because the guy didn't bet on the turn, so maybe he thinks he made a straight or 2 pair and was just trying to trap him. He didn't want to fall into any traps with 1 pair, so he checks the aces. I guarantee he's going to call in case Frank bets. But Frank opts to check, and wisely so, but right now very disgusted with himself for not betting that hand on the turn where he would have won that pot. So finally a break going to the way of Carlos Mortensen.
As soon as you check the ring, you just bank the ace.
Carlos turning it around. Maybe left a few papas fritas on the table. Didn't make the value bet. Nevertheless, he is coming back. We're coming back too on the World Poker Tour.
My nickname, the Matador.
The Matador slays another opponent.
I kill many people in the final tables.
One more time. I move on in. That is what he's talking about.
Maybe it's because I have no fear and I'm playing.
He's done it. The Matador is a two-time WPT champion.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. That is the man with the red cape, the Matador, Carlos Mortensen.
Yep, he's going for his third WPT title tonight. That would tie him with Gus Hansen for the most wins in the history of the World Poker Tour. Let's see if he can get it done.
Yeah, three-handed poker, but the action goes to the former car salesman, Mike Mustafa. Peaks down at a 9-8 offsuit.
Well, he's on the button. He's in position, so he's going to raise it here. He's going to make it 75,000 to go.
Into Carlos, who's going to throw away a jack 4. And now Frank the Tank.
Well, he looks down at the king 4 diamonds, but Vince, most guys might just call with that. Not Frank the Tank. He is firing it up to 200,000. He is re-raising with the king 4, and he's quickly called by Mike Mustafa.
Yep.
So we are starting to gamble it up here.
Got king 4 up against 9-8. Who's going to get lucky?
Oh, bingo, bango, bongo for Mike Mustafa. He has flopped the joint, the 9 high straight. He has the best hand possible right now. Action is on Frank, and look at this, Vince. He is reaching for a healthy dose of chips that he can just say goodbye to.
Oh, man, the Tank is plunging ahead. It looks like a bet of 203,000.
Yeah, no way Frank can win this pot. It's just a matter of how much he loses.
Well, you're so excited if you're Mike, and he's just going to okie dokie call him, trying to trap his opponent. Here we go with the turn card, Queen of Diamonds, irrelevant.
Well, action back on Frank. They get called on the flop for 203,000, so you can't like king 4 right now. You're actually hoping to make a straight with the king 4, but unfortunately for Frank, even if he makes it, it's just going to cost him more money.
Well, the Tank is checked.
400.
Wow, 400,000 is the bet. And I say wow because there's no flush possibilities. He's got the best hand possible. If his opponent had 2 pair or trips, he would have bet out, so.
Yeah, I don't understand this bet. I mean, what are you trying to protect? Let the guy possibly suck out on you, but you got such a huge hand, a 3-handed poker game at this moment.
Or catch a card,
Yeah.
man. Suppose a 3 or an 8 comes off. He's going to bust the guy.
A little bit of a eager bet there, but perhaps not in his eyes.
Can't wait to see what you have there.
You'll be shocked how cheap you got away from the hand.
When you have the nuts to win a big pot, you just don't feel like you can check on any
God,
street.
If you had anything, you would have went bust in the hand.
Because then the pot doesn't get that big. But in this case,
You know, he's a former car salesman. It's like, you know, over-talking your sale and just chasing the guy out of the dealership. It's just wrong.
ah,
All right, back to this hand. Frank the Tank, this time with a pair of 8s.
well, this time he's got a legitimate hand. And he is going to raise it. You can't blame him for that. He makes it 75,000 to go. Mike Mustafa has 2 7s. He is in dire straits this time around.
Oh boy, buckle up.
He just flopped the nuts to win a nice pot off Frank. But this time, we could see a reversal of fortune.
And Mike is going to get aggressive. He's going to raise here. Makes it 225.
Well, he's come right back over the top, raising with the 2 7s. Carlos gets out of their way.
Now back on Tank.
He's about a 4-1 favorite to win this pot. And Vince, if he gambles here, there's a good chance he's going to double up, that's for sure. It's going to cost him another 150,000 to make the call. The question is, do you call or raise? Wow, Vince, he does neither. He folds. Well, Vince, if Frank doesn't go on to win this tournament, he's going to look back at this hand right here and realize, wow, I had my chance. I should have gone for it right there.
So the car salesman, Mike Mustafa, sells his opponent the clunker, gets away with it. We're coming back with more action from the World Poker Tour in just a moment.
So I'm never quiet at a table.
Should have called Carlos. So it's rock and roll.
My buddies at home, they get sick of me. I talk so much.
And I might be able to bust you now.
They put headphones on all the time so they don't have to listen to me.
You guys are all serious, sir.
back to the Hollywood Casino in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, where 3 players are still in the hunt to become the first Hollywood Poker Open champion.
Okay, let's check the chip count and get back down to the felt.
Well, we've had a reversal of fortune in the chip count, as you can see. Mike Mustafa now out in front with 1.9 million. Carlos Mortensen in second place with 1.5, and with just less than 900,000 is Frank Callow, who recently just had a big chip lead, and now he's in third place.
Yeah, Frank the Tank starting to struggle here as he quickly folds his hand. Now the former car salesman Mike Mustafa with an ace-deuce. Looks like he's getting some raisin chips out.
Just don't raise too much.
No, keep it affordable for you to call.
Yeah, that's right.
Makes it 75,000.
I want you to fold.
75.
Well, he's putting out some Hollywood script right there in the events. Oh, I don't want you to fold. Betting enough so you can call. That's hokey pokey when you got ace deuce offsuit.
I forgot what I had. Let me see again.
So Carlos with the best hand with ace 6. Well, Carlos thought about raising it there, but opts to just call. So we're going to have a flop here. Carlos with the ace 6, Mike with the ace deuce.
Who will flop better?
Well, it's Jack 7 deuce. So Mike has flopped bottom pair with top kicker. He is out in front now with 2 deuces, and he checks. Well, Carlos is going to bet now that his opponent checked. He fires out 80,000. Mike's going to make the call with 2 deuces. Carlos doesn't like that, I can promise you. 4 diamonds comes off.
Helps neither player. Again on Mike. He checks again.
Well, Carlos checks as well. Carlos hoping his opponent's got something like a 9-10 for a straight draw. About the only hand he can beat here.
King of hearts on the river.
Well, it goes check, check.
1 pair.
Mike is going to win this pot with 2 deuces.
You know, I have to raise your back and pre-flop.
Well, there you heard it. The Matador said he should have raised back before the flop and taken control of the hand. Chances are he would have won the pot instead of lost it.
Can't call pre-flop right now.
No, I'm not calling you. Make a 160. It looked like you want to make a 170 or something like that.
I almost did it.
Kind of name
My
it.
bad.
Advance to Carlos to feel like he misplayed a hand. It's sort of like turning your back on the bull. It's just something you don't do. In the meantime, Mike Mustafa increasing his chip lead.
Yeah, quit the car business to do exactly what he's doing here tonight. Play big-time poker, and he's doing it well. Action's on him. He quickly mucks a king-9 of diamonds. Kind of surprising.
Well, very surprising to muck that in a 3-handed poker game, especially when you're the chip leader and you're on the button.
But the Matador with a pair of 3s. He's going to pop it up a bit. Makes it 90,000 to go.
And Frank's got the suited connectors, the 5-4 diamonds. He wants to see a flop, so he makes the call.
Yeah. Some little cards.
Oh, now look at this, Vince. We've seen Carlos do this several times at this final table. He's betting 150,000 before the cards even come up on the flop. He doesn't know if they're going to help him or not. Well, flop is 5-4 deuce. Carlos has flopped an open end straight, but look at this. Frank has the top 2 pair, and he has Carlos in bad shape right now.
This could get very interesting. Carlos has bet in the blind 150. Now, what will the tank do?
All in.
Frank coming back over the top.
Well, he's going all in.
I call.
For nearly 800,000, and Carlos quickly calls him.
We've got a bullfight here.
Well, Frank turns up the top 2 pair. Carlos turns up the open end straight draw.
Come on, that 10 outs.
Yeah, Carlos says he has 10 outs.
10 outs, one
That
time.
means 4 aces, 4 6s, and 2 3s. Those are the 10 cards he's talking about that he can win the pot with. He needs one of them now.
The tank plunging away. Out in front. Will he stay there?
Clubs can count too.
Here comes 4th Street.
Oh, the 8 of diamonds comes off. Now that's a bad card for Carlos because it takes 3 of his outs away.
2 outs.
The ace, 3, and 6 of diamonds are no good for Carlos anymore. So all of a sudden, his outs have shrunk to 7.
Frank the tank in a great position to double up.
Oh, but the 3
no!
of hearts comes off. The Matador outdraws Frank on the river, and that's going to do it for the 22-year-old poker pro out of Syracuse, New York. That's a 1.
Frank the tank imploding before our very eyes, out in 3rd place, but he is going to pick up 167,000.
So Carlos Mortensen firing the bazooka to take the tank out of the tournament.
Oh man, it was so sick. I had a ton of chips, and then I just like ran bad once we got back from break. We were three-handed and made a couple moves that didn't really work out, and oh well, whatever happens.
Quiet on the set. The heads-up action is about to begin at the Hollywood Casino. Stay with us. We're coming back for more.
You know what? I'm not the greatest heads-up player. It's going to be something different for me, especially against Carlos, who's a great tournament player, period. So I got my work cut out for me.
And there is still work to do, you know. Can't say anything until the last player is down.
Welcome back to heads-up action on the WPT.
The cash, the trophy, and the WPT Tiffany bracelet are being put on the table. So much on the line for both these players.
Who is going to become the first champion of the Hollywood Poker Open? Let's check the chip count and then get back to the game.
So there you see Carlos Mortensen is out front right now. He's got 2.2 million, but right on his heels, Mike Mustafa with 2 million in chips.
Carlos, you got enough bracelets. Let me get one, all right?
We got the former car salesman, Mike Mustafa, up against one of the true greats, Carlos Mortensen.
Well, with that suck out against Frank a moment ago, Carlos ensures himself to be the all-time money leader on the World Poker Tour.
All right, to the game we go. Action on Carlos. He picks up Queen Jack of Spades.
And that's a pretty good hand in heads-up poker.
And he's going to raise with it. Makes it 60,000.
Mike Mustafa has an ace-10. That also a pretty good hand in heads-up poker.
Go 150.
And he's coming right back over the top. He's going to make it 150,000. And quickly, Carlos calls the raise. So here we go. Good action on hand number one of the heads-up battle. And what a flop this is for both players.
Wow.
Mike has flopped top pair with top kicker. Carlos has flopped a flush draw with 2 overcards.
And Mike not taking any time. He's going to put in 240,000.
How much you got left?
Well, Carlos says, how much are you playing? He's laughing because there's a good chance he could ship it here with this hand.
I call.
But he just calls. Doesn't raise with the flush draw, just makes the call.
Carlos hoping to get lucky. Here's our turn.
Oh, the Queen of Hearts comes off. So now Carlos has the best hand and the best draw.
250.
Mike is checked and Carlos betting $250,000.
I call.
Well, Mike is going to make the call for $250,000.
This is getting expensive. Down to the river we go. 7 of clubs.
Well, the board pairs 7s.
Check.
250.
Again, Mike checks, and quickly, Carlos confidently bets 250,000.
I call.
And the car salesman is going to call it.
2 pair.
Well, Carlos turns up, queens up, and he's going to win the pot with it. And a healthy pot it was.
Nice hand.
There's 10,000 short, I think.
Then Mustafa hasn't showed his hand quite yet. Carlos says you're 10,000 short.
How you know you're getting it yet?
Hmm?
How you know you're getting the pot yet?
Well, we know. And now he knows. The Matador takes his sword, pierces the bull.
Nearly 1.8 million in that pot, so Carlos Mortensen extending his chip lead.
Don't tell me you have a jacks. Huh?
You don't have jacks.
Ace 10.
Ace 10's exactly right, my friend.
All right, Carlos. First hand, I give you 1,000,000 chips.
All right, the antes are going up with that hand to 4,000.
I put you on a flush draw, to be honest with you. I don't think you
Blinds 20 and 40,000.
Well, I made the exactly right bet to make this.
Mustafa says he loves to talk at the table.
Maybe.
And when he's playing in his home game, the guys just, say, put the duct tape on. Just shut up for a moment.
Talking probably works a lot better in the home game, and it's going to work out here in the WPT against the likes of a Carlos Mortensen or a Daniel Negreanu, I can tell you that.
All right, it's on him, and he's got a pair of 5s.
Well, he's going to raise it here. Can't blame him for that. Comes in for 90,000.
I call.
Carlos with the suited Jack 4 of diamonds. He's going to make the call. Hard to steal his blind, Vince. And flop comes 10, 9, deuce, 1 diamond. Carlos checks, and Mike checks the 2 5s right behind him.
Yeah, flop helped neither player, but look at this ace of diamonds on the turn. That's going to help Carlos.
Well, Carlos checks again with the flush draw.
120.
And now Mike bets 120,000, trying to represent that he's got an ace in his hand. But look at this. Carlos is going to raise him. He makes it 240,000 to go. And Vince, most players would just immediately eject the 2 5s and throw them in the muck. But Mike has made the call.
Yeah.
Just knows Carlos is capable of making a play here. And now the joker comes off for Mike Mustafa. The third 5 comes off. Well, Carlos checks.
All in.
And Mike now bets all in with the 3 5s. There's no way Carlos is going to call here, obviously, with the jack high. So he throws his hand away, but Vince, what a call by this guy on the turn. I mean, all you can beat is a stone bluff. It was a great raise by Carlos there.
Ace five?
Pocket threes.
No way.
Unfortunately, his opponent didn't go anywhere.
You have ace five.
I don't have 2 pair, Carlos, I swear.
He's telling the truth right there.
I don't have 2 pair. You're gonna be shocked.
You have flush draw?
No.
But you have a pair, I think.
I had a pocket pair, yeah.
Let's see if Carlos can figure this out.
So you have a set.
Oh, ole!
35.
3 5s, he calls it.
Stay with us. We're coming back for more on the World Poker Tour.
Tonight's episode of the World Poker Tour is brought to you by PlayWPT.com.
I thought I was a poker player until today. This is amazing what they brought here. If I grew up where they built this casino and nobody here would have dreamed of a poker game other than at a Legion Hall or somewhere, nothing with millions of dollars on the table. And Hollywood Casino has been such a great benefit to this community. We can't thank Hollywood enough for bringing Lawrenceburg into the limelight, and we appreciate everything they do.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. This is world-class Hollywood Casino.
Well, we appreciate being in the Midwest for a WPT event, and what a great spot to be, especially for these two guys fighting it out for this title.
To the felt we go. Carlos Mortensen first to act.
Raise.
With an ace-deuce, he's going to raise.
I call.
Makes it 120,000 to go.
Yeah, Mike is going to make the call here, and why not? After catching that 5 on the river, feeling good a minute ago. Let's gamble it up here.
Mike with 9-7.
Ace, queen 9, great flop for Carlos. He's flopped top pair, Mike has flopped bottom pair.
120.
Mike checks, and Carlos is going to bet 120,000.
I call.
Now, Mike is going to call him. He just thinks this guy's never got a hand, Vince. Oh, a 7 comes off. Mike has taken the lead with 2 pair here as he gets very lucky on the turn.
200.
Again, he checks. And again, Carlos bets, this time 200,000. And folks, get ready for the check raise.
What a dream card on the turn. And there it is, just like you said, Mike.
Well, naturally, you're going to raise it here with 2 pair. In case your opponent's got a straight draw or just a pair of aces like he's got, you got to make him pay to catch.
Oh, yeah. Makes it 660 to go.
You have like 700 behind?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's a healthy $460,000 re-raise. Well, Carlos has top pair. He's got a bad kicker. He's been check raised on the turn. What do you do now with 2 aces? Well, he's getting out chips. And he knows there's a chance his opponent could have something like king 10 of diamonds where he made a flush draw and a straight draw on the turn. But chances are he's probably beat. Carlos Mortensen with some of the best instincts in the poker world. Can he get away from 2 aces here?
And you notice Mustafa's not talking much here.
He does throw away the aces, Vince.
Yeah, good lay down.
And another spot-on lay down by Carlos Mortensen. Vince, the guy just has a knack to know when he's beat.
Nice pickup on the turn for Mike. Got to be content with that.
Ace 7. Ace 7.
2 pair.
Queen 9.
2 pair. 2 pair.
Queen 9. Gotta be queen 9.
I don't know. You got to call.
Not really. You tell him everything anyhow.
What's your kicker with your ace?
Well, you're right,
6.
Vince. If I was this guy, I wouldn't be telling Carlos Mortensen a thing.
Jeez.
Everybody thought you were going to make the call there. I even thought you were going to make the call there.
I'd be getting the duct tape and putting it over my own mouth.
He's just the sweetest guy, and he just sweet talks everyone, and they reveal everything.
Well, Vince, with that hand, these players are almost dead even in chips again. So we are back to the drawing board. for Carlos Mortensen, who's going for his third WPT title tonight.
And the antes are going up to 5,000. Blinds now 25 and 50. Action goes to Carlos.
There it is.
Has a miserable looking Jack 4, but that's not going to slow down the bullfighter. He makes it 150 to go. Mustafa with a King Jack makes the call.
Right now, Mike has him dominated. King Jack versus Jack 4. Carlos perhaps steaming a bit there. Well, here comes a flop.
We need glasses for Carlos.
Well, look at this. Carlos going to put on his sunglasses, Vince. So it's a battle of the shades now. Carlos hadn't been having them on, but flop is queen 9-5.
250.
No help to either player. It does give Mike a gut shot straight draw. He checks, and Carlos confidently bets 250,000.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been called with the gut shot straight draw, and why not, Vince?
There's Chris Bell back on the rail. Nice effort to be knocked out and come back and watch. Very rare.
Well, deuce of hearts comes off. You're right, Vince. Most people just run out straight to the bar when they get knocked out.
That is true. Now they both check.
Here comes the river card. Now a 10 comes off on the river. Again, the joker for Mike Mustafa. He has a stone cold nuts, the best hand possible.
500.
But he's going to bet $500,000 here. And Vince, I don't understand this bet. And Carlos quickly folds, and I say that because if Carlos has a big hand where he can pay off a $500,000 bet, why not give him a chance to bluff at the pot?
Which one of these players' tournament run is going to have a nice, perfect Hollywood ending?
Find out when we return with more action from the Hollywood Poker Open in just a moment.
Carlos, you got enough bracelets. Let me get one, all right?
I'd love to play against Carlos heads up. That would probably be the perfect matchup. Just want to see how I stack up against one of the best.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The Hollywood Poker Open continues. Heads up action.
Well, right now, Mike Mustafa stacking up pretty well against Carlos as he's got the chip lead. He's got 2.4 million. Carlos sitting on 1.8 million. So right now, the momentum on the side of Mike Mustafa.
Mike Mustafa, the former car salesman, got in the tournament through a $1,200 satellite, making things happen here tonight. Let's go to the felt. Carlos with a King 10 this time.
He's been spanked too many times lately and opts to just limp in with a King 10. And Mike says, okay, let's have a flop as he looks down at a Jack Deuce. And there it is, Jack right in the door. It's come Queen Jack 6. So Mike has second pair. Carlos has the open end straight draw.
Mike checks. Carlos checking as well.
Well, 4 hearts comes off. Mike thinking he's got the best hand now with 2 jacks, which he does. So he's going to bet. He bets just 50,000. Look at this, Vince. Carlos is going to raise him on the turn here after limping in and then checking on the flop. He has now raised him on the turn, and as you can see, Mike is trying to figure this out. He said, well, I don't know what you got. I'm going to call you to find out, though.
An additional 100, and he's been called by Mike down to the river.
Oh, the ace of spade comes off. This gives Carlos an ace high straight. There is a possible flush out there. Well, Mike is going to check.
Just a perfect card for the Matador.
350,000.
Yeah, the perfect card would have been an offsuit ace, but 350,000 is the bet.
Check.
And virtually all Mike can beat at this stage is a stone bluff, but...
And he's just stammering to himself, muttering.
He's been calling Carlos so many times here, thinking he never has anything. Will he do it yet again? If so, he'll get his wrist slapped this time.
What are you trying to represent, Carlos? Flush, straight, what? Ace?
Don't get too curious here.
Played this hand so odd.
You make this call, you'll be giving a lot of momentum back to Carlos.
I lay it down. I know it's good.
Wow, he did lay it down. Nicely done.
So Carlos Mortensen finally getting untracked a little bit and takes down a pot.
Carlos, originally born in Ecuador, later on moved to Spain.
Bluff.
Now lives in Vegas part-time.
You can't even hold it in.
You know what's amazing about him? He's taken 2 titles.
You
He's
smile
wins a
now.
ton of money in the World Poker Tour, but he's only played 50-some-odd tournaments on the World Poker Tour.
Vince, the guy's averaged over $100,000 every WPT event he has entered. by far and away the best out here in the World Poker Tour for players that have entered 20 events or more.
Back to this hand. It's on Mike again with the button and an attractive-looking king-queen offsuit.
Yeah, very attractive.
And he's going to raise it. Makes it 125. And Carlos with a queen-jack coming back over the top.
Unbelievable. Carlos has re-raised 200,000 here, and as you can see, he has dominated. It's king-queen versus queen-jack, but let's see what Mike is going to do. Mike's going to make the call. So Mike just never believes Carlos has a big hand. And in this case, he's right. He has him dominated.
And there's another blind bet here by Carlos Mortensen. He's just putting chips in before the flop.
You like doing that, don't you?
Put in 325,000. It could very well work with a flop of 3-3-4 with 2 hearts because Mike has none of that.
I'm all in.
Wow. Fancy has pulled the trigger for all his chips. A stunning move by this poker pro out of Chicago. I mean, this play is going to work. Carlos cannot possibly call him here with a queen-jack, I don't think. But what a play to move all in with just king high here. Especially when the guy bet in the dark. After raising pre-flop, not just raising, coming over the top and re-raising.
It's really uncallable. I'm just seeing a little Spanish theatrics right now.
Well, maybe Carlos is going to have to reevaluate these blind bets.
And finally, Carlos reluctantly folding the hand.
So Mike Mustafa giving Carlos Mortensen the bogus boo book right there.
That's right. The former car salesman sells another lemon. We're coming back with more action. Stay with us on the World Poker Tour.
Welcome back to the Hollywood Casino. You're watching the WPT's inaugural Hollywood Poker Open. We are down to heads-up play. And right now, Mike Mustafa out in front with 2.7 million. Carlos Mortensen with 1.6 million.
Yeah, the blinds are going up to 30 and 60,000. Action goes to Carlos.
Carlos Mortensen has already become the all-time money leader on the World Poker Tour by finishing in at least second place tonight. Now he's looking to tie Gus Hansen with 3 WPT titles, but right now he's up against it as Mike has the chip lead.
Carlos with king 9, Mike 10-7.
Happy to see a flop. And the flop comes 9-8-5, 2 diamonds. Mike has an open-end straight draw and a backdoor flush draw. He checks. Carlos has top pair.
He certainly does, and Carlos is going to bet it, 100,000.
And he's going to be called by Mike. Mike looking to catch the 6 or the jack. A 10 would give him the lead. But the 4 spade comes off. Mike's going to check.
300.
Carlos quickly bets 300,000.
The Matador trying to protect his top pair.
Well, Mike going to gamble here. And I say gamble because he's got to make the straight, and if it's a 6 or jack of diamonds, you're still scared.
But he has been lucky all night. He catches when he usually needs it. Will he do it now?
Well, queen of spade comes off.
Well, Mike finally did not hit there.
See what he's going to do here, though. He's going to check.
300.
Well, Carlos going to bet 300,000 here.
He missed me every way possible. I don't know how.
But Mike lays it down, so Carlos does pick up the pot to close the gap on the chip lead. Well, there you see Gus Hansen in his famous elbow flex when he captured his WPT title.
I know that very pale rich man.
Carlos Mortensen trying to tie Gus with 3 WPT titles and can do so if he wins here tonight.
All right. It is a close race right here, right now. And this time, Mike with 10-9, just going to call. Carlos with an 8-7.
Well, he says give us a flop here. So here comes that flop. Oh, it's come 10-9-6. Carlos has the nut straight, but Mike has the top 2 pair. Folks, buckle up. You are going to see some fireworks now.
High seas ahead. What a flop. Carlos has quickly checked. Mike bet 90,000. Carlos with the nuts right now.
Well, you're going to see the raise here, that's for sure. And I say that because there's a possible flush draw and a bigger straight draw out there. So Carlos does raise it, makes it 300,000 to go.
An additional 210.
Well, Vince, if I was Mike, I would just shove it right here. But I wouldn't like it after Carlos turned up his hand, I can tell you that. So let's see what Mike is going to do.
Opportunity of a lifetime.
All in.
Oh. And he does push all in, and a quick call, of course.
Stop it.
Well, Vince, you can't blame him for playing the hand that way. Nothing you can do about it when you flop the top two pair, playing heads-up poker. Right now, Carlos Mortensen in great shape to double up and take a giant step toward those 3 WPT titles.
Just pair it, please. 10 or 9.
The Matador puzzling the bull.
Good luck, Carlos.
But what a pot, the biggest pot of the tournament, over $4 million in his pot. Let's see what happens.
Mike should pair, he'll take this tournament. Not there, it's a jack of spades.
Well, we're down to the river card.
Got a bigger straight now.
For Mike Mustafa to win this tournament right here, right now, he must catch a 10 or a 9 on the river. Otherwise, the Matador will have a huge chip lead in this heads-up battle.
Can the former car salesman get lucky and get this card and take this title? We will see. Here comes the river.
Nope. So Carlos Mortensen has doubled up. He is in great shape, Vince, to tie Gus Hansen's 3 WPT titles now. He has a monster chip lead.
So the Matador getting close to making some poker history here tonight at the Hollywood Poker Open. Stay with us. We're coming back with more action in just a moment.
6.
Tonight's episode of the World Poker Tour is brought to you by PlayWPT.com.
One of the best feelings in my poker career.
Carlos, congratulations on your win tonight.
Most of the best players in the world were playing that tournament. It's like very prestigious tournament. And win that means you feel like in the top, you know, in the top of the mountain.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The Hollywood Poker Open continues. And right now, Mike Mustafa is desperate. He is in the deep end of the pool with broken arms. He's in trouble.
Carlos Mortensen with 96% of the chips, a massive chip lead.
All right, I move on in.
He is well on his way to capturing that 3rd WPT title.
Do I have to show it to the camera before I look at it?
Well, look at this in his hand. Mike crippled here. All the money is in.
And he is out in front with the ace-6. Carlos has the queen deuce. Vince, you heard Carlos how proud he was when he won the WPT World Championship back in season 5, and proud he should be.
Put an ace out there one time.
As the only man in the world that's won the main event at the World Series and the main event on the World Poker Tour. That's a feat we may not see duplicated for at least 20 years.
Well, can the Matador take down this title right now? We will see. Here's the flop.
Well, flop comes king 9-5. So a good flop for Mike, in that his ace-high is still out in front. Carlos must catch a queen or deuce to take the lead.
Turn card is a 4 of hearts.
So we are down to the river. To win this pot and end this tournament right now, Carlos must catch a queen or a deuce. Otherwise, Mike Mustafa will double up.
I'm feeling a deuce.
Well, it's a 6 of spade. So Mike makes 2 6s, going to take down that pot. So the match continues.
Sit back now, guys. One more head.
Carlos slightly amused. Mike feeling very, very relieved to take that.
One more time. Actually,
he's feeling good, Vince, because he's promised his 4 daughters are going on vacation. He makes it to this final table, so the higher up he finishes, perhaps the nicer vacation.
325 plus 30 is 355.
He has 4 daughters. I wonder what it's like living in a house with 5 women, Vince.
Don't look.
That's why you play poker.
I'm on.
Well, well, he's going all in the dark for the 2nd time in a row.
I call.
Carlos has a queen jack and makes the call.
Yep, a 9-7 for Mike Mustafa.
I like this hand.
Carlos with queen jack.
He says he likes his hand. I'm sure Carlos likes his. He's the favorite to win this thing right here, right now, and tie Gus Hansen with 3 WPT titles.
Flop, 10-9, 10-8-7. What am I talking about? 10-8-6. 10-9-8. 10-8-6, you're going to flop a draw too. You need a 9.
Ace king 10 would be nice.
I'm telling you right now, I'm going to hit a 9 on the flop.
Stop the predictions. Get to the flop.
Yeah, let's just see the flop.
Well, flop comes 7-6-3. So Mike didn't catch the 9, but he did catch the 7. He is out in front now with a pair of 7s.
You can do it.
Carlos must catch a queen or a jack to take the lead. A 9 comes off. It's over. Carlos is drawing dead as Mike makes 2 pair on the turn.
Ship the sugar, baby.
It is. It's over. Ship the pot.
And Vince just said quickly, Mike Mustafa now has over 700,000.
And he's starting to get annoying to Carlos Mortensen. It's like that gnat in the middle of your back. You can't quite swat him.
Back in business, Carlos.
Mike is sticking around.
355 total.
Well, one time Carlos had the worst hand, one time he had the best hand, but he lost both pots.
It ain't over till the fat lady sings.
And Mike has doubled up twice in a row.
Yeah, the Matador is not smiling any longer.
Even the fish get lucky sometimes.
He knows it's never easy to take these titles, that's for sure. He still has a nice chip lead, but one more double up by this guy, and Carlos's chip lead will be down to about 2-1 is all.
Well, the blinds are 30 and 60,000. Action going to Carlos.
Well, he looks down at a king 10. And he's just going to bet enough money to cover him.
What are you doing, trying to put me all in here or something?
That's exactly what he's done.
Yep. Oh, but Mustafa with a pair of 6s.
Call.
Well, Mike is going to make the call with 2 6s. He has the best hand right now.
He already bet more than I got.
So we've got a race situation here.
Carlos, a black 6 on the flop. You know how you do it.
If Carlos wins the race, he'll be our champion.
Black 6. I mean, if there's a red 6, I'll take it too, but I don't know if you can find one in there.
If Mike wins it, he'll double up yet again for the 3rd consecutive hand.
All righty, let's rock and roll.
Well, this a healthy pot. 1.4 million in this pot.
You feeling the pressure of doubling me up one more time?
I'm feeling I'm going to win in this hand.
Well, Carlos said, I feel I'm going to win it on this hand. And a 10 comes off, as well as 3 clubs.
That's not a good flop for my hand.
Unbelievable.
You still have one out.
Yeah,
Mike has one out, the 6 of spade. That's the only card he can win the pot with.
Ole for the Spaniard. 2 cards remaining.
Well, a jack comes off. Actually, a good card for Mike, in that he now has twice as many outs. The 6 of clubs will win it for him now as well. He needs the 6 of spade or the 6 of clubs.
Carlos 1 card away from making history.
Well, the 5 of clubs comes off. Carlos makes a flush. Carlos Mortensen has done it, folks. You have witnessed poker history tonight. He has captured his 3rd World Poker Tour title. He has become the all-time money leader on the World Poker Tour. Folks, you're looking at poker greatness right there.
The Matador has slayed the bull one more time as he goes to the rail, kisses his girlfriend. He is our champion.
Give me my 195, please. Can't wait to see what you got there. Back in business, Carlos.
I'm feeling I'm going to win in this hand.
Congratulations to Carlos Mortensen for winning the inaugural Hollywood Poker Open.
Carlos is now a 3-time WPT champion and the all-time money winner on the WPT.
For Vince Van Patten and everyone at the World Poker Tour, I'm Mike Sexton saying thanks for watching. And until next time, may all your cards be live and your pots be monsters. I don't understand what this is for here. World Poker Tour is brought to you by ClubWPT.com. Never lose another dime playing poker, guaranteed.
Welcome to Las Vegas and the beautiful Bellagio, where we are moments away from the start of a WPT final table that will pit Justin Smith, one of the best young players in the game, against a man who used to be one of the best young players in the game, but is now just the best player, period. The incomparable Phil Ivey. I'm Kimberly Lansing, and this is the World Poker Tour.
Well, the crowd all standing.
He is circling the drain.
They are going bare knuckles in the center of the ring.
He needs the extreme miracle.
Oh! Wow! Unbelievable!
As you can see from the reaction of last season's Bellagio Cup champion Alex Gomez, winning a WPT title is a poker player's ultimate thrill. This year, 353 players ponied up $10,000 in hopes of capturing that very same feeling. But as is always the case on the WPT, nothing comes easy.
Let's get ready to kick off Season 9. Let's shuffle up and deal.
Day 1 attracted 243 new and familiar faces to Bellagio, with more to come, with registration being extended through Day 3. Among them was Alex Gomez, looking to defend his title. Jennifer Tilly had her tournament life on the line when she was all in with top pair, but James Van Alstyne had her out-kicked, and she was one of the first casualties of the day, and they just kept coming. Matt Stout's ace-king ran into WPT champion Vivek Rajkumar's pocket aces, and Vivek rose to the top of the chip count. Then Kevin Saul, who won this event back in season 6, tangled with Poker Hall of Famer Billy Baxter. Kevin's flush draw did not improve, and shortly after, he was eliminated from the tournament. Day 1 ended with 162 players still in the hunt and 4 days away from a prestigious WPT title. Leading the way was WPT Bucharest champion Guillaume Darcourt, young gun Phil Collins, and the Costa Rican beauty Paula Martin.
Cards help, flops help, turns help, river helps, all of that. That's fun.
Day 2 saw 67 new players in the field, bringing the count up to 310 total players. Looking around the room, the toughest table had to be table number 54. Filled with 3 WPT champions and tough tournament pros, this was the table to watch. Alex Kravchenko tangled with WPT champ Sean Buchanan. On an 8-high flop, Alex didn't mess around and put Sean all in. Sean's top pair was dominated, and he was sent packing. The other WPT champions at the table, Mike Watson and Olivier Bousquet, were also eliminated. And just when you thought this table couldn't get much tougher, their seats were filled with Joseph Big Egypt El Paya and WPT champion Daniel Lai. Both Daniel and the Norwegian superstar Annette Oberstad emerged from the table with healthy chip stacks.
What can I say? I mean, I keep getting a lot of good flops too, so it's been a really easy day.
Another player who surged to the top of the chip counts on day 2 was Jordan Morgan.
I try to be lucky when I can be. Have been today for sure.
When the dust cleared, 112 players were left at Bellagio with only 3 days between them and a WPT title. The Fontana Lounge was buzzing on day 3 as the latest registration in tournament history brought in 43 of the biggest names in the game.
Trying to get all those chip things.
Okay.
Day 3 made it.
All right.
Gamble up, yo. The opportunity to buy in this late, I have to take it. You know, we're down to 120 people from like 350.
While some pros got off to a good start, others found an early exit.
See you later. By the time I got into my chair, I folded the 9-3 of clubs and then played the 2 10s. So I played 2 hands.
As the money bubble approached, satellite qualifier Dan Stadinovic was facing a min raise from Alex Melnikow and made a tight laydown.
Do the dumbest move in the history of this tournament. It's gonna be on TV, I hope. I fold.
What? That was the dumbest move in the history of the tournament.
Oh, it wasn't? It was dumber than this?
Yeah, he just folded instead of fires.
The 4 or 5 players from making it in the money, I thought it was worth, playing conservatively. But apparently there was a big shock in the room because you're not supposed to do that, I guess. So everyone knew I was an amateur.
The unlucky bubble girl Kathy Laney was sent to the rail by WPT champ Vadim Trincher, and players started quickly falling.
Yeah. My first tournament, so I was really excited and learned a lot, and look forward to the next one.
Phil Ivey slow played a set of 8s for a timely double up through EPT champ Moritz Kronich to keep him in contention.
That's a great hand.
Annette Oberstad pushed all in with a straight and flush draw. She was finally called by Corey Hockman with a set of 6s. Annette did not improve and was eliminated in 35th place.
He still rolled. He even said it.
Then in a double elimination, Men Win and David Baker were taken out by former WPT finalist Eric Paniotto.
How can the guy call me with ace? I know. And the other guy wake up with 2 kings.
Eric finished the day as chip leader with 31 players remaining, 2 days away from a WPT final table.
Today I came in with 80K and I finished the day with 477, so I'm really happy about that, obviously.
Not good enough, because everyone else still has chips.
Final table.
The pressure was high on day 4 as we were playing down to 6 for the WPT final table. Dan Stadinovic survived 1 all-in.
I just didn't want to knock you out. You're so entertaining.
What's that what it is?
But Phil Ivey didn't end up keeping Dan around for too long.
I was running low on chips, and I had an ace-9, and I pushed it all in, and one of the professionals had ace-queen called, and I didn't get lucky. I think it was Phil, something like that.
As play progressed, many players found themselves on the rail.
The Cinderella was more like my stack that made it through the day because I was short stack.
You know, it's disappointing, but honestly, you kind of just have to get used to it. It's part of the game.
Burnt. I'm gonna go rest, try to find this royal flush girl. I don't know, where's that chick at? That's when I was scoping the casino.
In the largest pot of the tournament, Aussie John Caridad doubled up through Eric Paniotu. Eric's hopes of making a second WPT final table at the Bellagio Cup were dashed as he was soon after eliminated. Zach Hyman was the unfortunate TV bubble boy, and the final 6 players were set. But what a final 6 we ended up with. Phil Ivey is making his 9th WPT final table appearance after buying into this tournament on day 3, along with 43 other top-name pros. Of those 43, only Phil Ivey survived. And we have Justin Smith, who made this same final table a year ago, blew out his knee in a freak injury and had to be helped out of the arena. He's back once more with a ton of chips and very healthy indeed. Also in the hunt are German champion Moritz Kronich, the talented young Brit Rob Akery, an amateur poker player from Canada, Eric Afreet, and our chip leader, Aussie John Caridad. The battle for this prestigious WPT title here at Bellagio is about to begin, so let's turn it over to poker's best commentators, Mike Sexton and Vince Van Patten.
Thanks, Kimberly. I'm Mike Sexton along with Vince Van Patten, ready to bring you all the action from the Bellagio Cup.
Well, Mike, it is great to be back here with you. Our 9th season on the World Poker Tour right here in the Fontana Lounge, and what a final table we have.
This is going to be a good one. Stay with us. We'll be right back for the start of the final table right after this.
Welcome back to Bellagio Cup on the World Poker Tour.
The Bellagio Cup final table is about to begin, so buckle up and let's watch the bluffing begin.
Tonight's World Poker Tour brought to you by ClubWPT.com. Well, there you can see the winner tonight. Going to take home over $875,000. The runner-up, nearly $600,000.
Our chip leader is John Caridad from Australia with $5.1 million.
And what a worldly final 6 it is. 4 from foreign countries, 2 Americans, including the great and legendary Phil Ivey.
The ante's going to be $5,000. Blind 30 and $60,000. The cards have been dealt. Young Rob Akery looking at his hand. It's a lousy 3-deuce, and he quickly folds.
Rob from England. Right behind him, the Canadian Eric Afreet. He's going to fold.
But now Moritz Kronich from Germany with an ace-7 of diamonds. Pretty good starting hand.
He's going to raise it up. Makes it $125,000 to go. Right behind him, the Australian, John Caridad, looks down at a pair of 8s. He's got that mid-pair that you often wonder what you do with them when the guy in front of you raises. He's going to make the call.
Yep. Great player, Phil Ivey going out, and now Justin Smith. They call him Boosted J. Also going to fold.
Well, he made this final table a year ago and has made it again, Vince. Very impressive by Justin.
So two-way action. And look at this flop. 3 of a kind for John Caridad, and aces there for Moritz.
Could be the Hindenburg for the German here. He's flopped top pair, but he's up against bottom set. He checks after raising free flop.
And John is not going to play his 3 of a kind sneaky. He has bet $150,000, and he gets a call here by Moritz. Going to the turn.
Well, 5 of hearts comes off on the turn. And Moritz, who raised before the flop top pair, has checked again. And Moritz is drawn completely dead here, as we say. No card he can catch to win it. Just a matter how much he's going to lose.
But the chip leader from down under, property developer with a 3 of a kind right now, setting up more chips, not going to play it slow, pushing in $400,000.
And before this pot started, Moritz was in second chip position, so the chip leader's clashing on deal number 1 here.
And he gets a call again by Moritz. What a disaster here happening. Hand number 1, river card coming up.
Well, a jack comes off. That may save the German some money because he might have put the guy on a jack, in which case he'd now have 3 jacks.
725.
And without hesitation, the Australian fires yet again, $725,000.
Moritz making the right decision. He shakes loose, and the Aussie's going to show his full house.
Good show? Full house.
Ivey looking very interested.
Everybody looking to that.
Very nice. A bit too much in the river. Must be nice to flop a set in the first hand.
You know, I wouldn't be showing these guys my cards if it was me.
Yeah, it is nice. To be crowned a WPT champion is, in a way, something money can't buy. I'd love to be the second Aussie. Where do I sign?
Well, Joe Hashem won here at Bellagio. Will John Caridad be the next Aussie to do it?
Just a great start for the chip leader there, taking down the first pot.
Well, look at this. John Caridad has picked up a pair of sevens in hand number 2.
Well, the middle pair worked great for him last time as he flopped the set to win the pot. So why not play the 2 sevens?
Makes it 165,000 to go, but Phil Ivey right behind it with an ace-jack.
He's going to make the call here.
Justin Smith out, as is Rob Akery, and Eric also out. So two-way action, Ivey involved, and Ivey picks up aces.
Well, comes ace 6-3 all spades. Now the Australian does have a flush draw as he's got the 7 of spades, and he makes the continuation bet here.
Yeah, 140 grand. Phil not going anywhere. He's making this call. Here comes the turn.
So king of clubs comes off. So Ivey still out in front with the ace-jack, but the amateur continues to fire, this time 350,000.
Ivey with no spade in his hand, but he does have aces.
Well, the graphics you see are in 4 colors, what we call a 4-color deck in poker. Spades are black, hearts are red, diamonds are blue, and clubs are green.
Oh, Mike, what's the difference? A bad beat is a bad beat in any color.
Well, most online players love to use 4-color decks because it helps them identify flushes where you don't misread your hand.
And Ivey is going to speculate, makes the tough call.
And the 4 hearts comes off.
Helps neither player. What will the Aussie do? Will he fire the 3rd time? Yes, with just a pair of sevens, going to stick out 500,000.
I'll tell you, it's tough, Vince, to put an amateur on a bluff, firing 3 bullets. But this guy has done it here. Is Phil Ivey up to the task to make this call? Now, this will be most all his chips. If he makes the call here, he will be down virtually to the felt if he would lose this pot. But he is staring this Australian down, watching those facial expressions.
And the Aussie's making a lot of them. Not a great poker face. And look at this. Phil might have picked up on it. He's making a solid call.
Good call.
Nice win by Phil.
Wow. What a call by Phil Ivey right there. Folks, that was virtually his tournament life. And Vince, you just wonder if that weakish bet was the tip that Ivey needed to decipher that situation.
I think if I go all in, he calls quicker.
Well, you know the Australian's saying to himself, Vince, you know, I might be the chip leader here, but maybe I should try to pick on somebody else besides the world's greatest player.
No, good call.
This season on the WPT, we have a new feature which brings you in-depth analysis and uncensored commentary from one of the brightest young minds in the game in a segment we call The Raw Deal.
Hi, I'm Tony Dunst, known online as Bond 18. Let's take a closer look at that last hand. There's a part of me that's impressed by John Caridad simply because he has the balls to try and bluff Phil Ivey. However, the river bluff is a clear mistake, and here's why. First is the sizing. When John bets 500K into a pot of over 1.4 million, he's laying Ivey an excellent price at nearly 4-1 to make a call with anything in his range that has showdown value. Second, I think John is failing to think about Ivey's hand range properly here. Although John likely thinks that Ivey can call a small flop bet with a wide range of hands including many holdings that are drawing and don't have showdown value, a number of the hands that Ivey would call both pre-flop and the flop with, like King-Queen, King-Jack, and King-10 containing a spade, pick up showdown value on the turn. Additionally, John can't be sure that if Ivey had a drawing hand that he would merely call on 2 streets instead of putting a raise in somewhere to try and blow John off a weaker holding. By the time they reach the river, John should know Ivey almost always has a hand with showdown value, and John's best play would have been to check and pray that Ivey checks behind. Instead, he bets, and to exacerbate John's problems, he completely fails to keep his poker face together. I mean, come on, I've seen girls say, I don't usually do this kind of thing, with more believability in their face than this guy in the middle of the bluff. Look here, he's squirming in his chair, feigning a weakish smile. I mean, I'm an online player, and I know that doesn't look right. I know it's hard, but when you make a WPT final table, you've got to set your emotions aside and maintain your physical composure, especially if you're going to get creative against players that are the caliber of Phil Ivey.
We will be right back with more from Bellagio, including my interview with Season 8 WPT Player of the Year, Jaka. Don't go away. But you put people on crazy monkey toe.
My nemesis, Justin Smith.
Eric, I played all day at day 2 and day 3 and a lot of day 4 with. So I now have a lot of history with him.
He just kept on taking my chips. He really had my number.
Yeah, he told me that I give him nightmares for the past 2 nights. We're gonna have to check with him on that and see if I was still in his dreams.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com. You'll never lose another dime playing poker, guaranteed.
All right, to the felt we go. Young Rob Akery quickly folding his hand. Eric Afreet, a clothing man from Canada, also folds.
Now the German going out, so we're around to the Australian. John Caridad looks down at Queen Jack on the button.
Yeah, he's still the chip leader.
He's still the chip leader, but the guys sitting in his blinds are what we call defenders, and just 2 of the toughest players, if not the toughest in the world, Phil Ivey and Justin Smith.
Well, John has made it 145,000 to go, but Phil Ivey going to get stubborn. He's got a pair of 3s. Makes the call. Now into the 22-year-old. Boosted J, Justin Smith.
Well, he's got a Queen 9. He's getting about 4-to-1 odds on his money, so certainly getting a price to call here. But look at this, Vince. He is going to raise it. He's making what we call a squeeze play. That's where one guy's raised, another guy's called, and even though you don't have much, you come over the top, just thinking if the first guy goes out, the second guy's going to go out, and you can pick up all that money that's out there. What a play by Justin Smith.
He's made it 515,000 into the Aussie.
Well, he folds his hand. Now around to Ivey, and Ivey very suspicious that Justin could be making the squeeze play, knowing he's very capable of it. Well, Ivey is going to lay him down, so what a great play by Boosted J. Justin Smith taking down the pot with just a great bet.
Looks like he's got a little raincoat on. Just came in from the rain, stealing a few pots. Nicely done.
As Season 9 of the WPT got underway here at the Bellagio Cup, we took the opportunity to take care of a little unfinished business from Season 8. 24-year-old Jaka picked up his WPT Player of the Year trophy and honor the man known as the Toilet, credits to psychological warfare and the power of monkey tilt. WPT Player of the Year. How does it feel to be on that list?
It feels great. It was my first year playing the WPTs, and I mean, I came in with a bang. I've always thought I've been good enough to win those tournaments, and I actually didn't win any of them yet, but I got Player of the Year, and I had a bunch of final tables, so definitely feel great about it.
Well, your journey began right here at this tournament, in this room, a year ago. How have you changed?
A lot of it is just how people perceive me now. I mean, I really don't think that I've changed much as far as the game goes. People know a lot more about me now, and that obviously affects how they play against me. So there's things like that that I take into consideration.
Well, you are known for your psychological warfare. I don't know how you do it, but you put people on crazy monkey tilt. Has that changed since the episodes have begun to air?
I think it's only gotten better in my favor.
Well, what are you doing outside of poker now?
The thing that's taking up most of my time right now is a caster boarding company that I co-founded. It's called Axis Caster Boarding. It's basically a new board. It's a hybrid sport, and it combines the tricks of a snowboard, a skateboard, and a surfboard. And I'm really excited about it.
I guess that leads into my next question. What's your future in poker? Where do you go from here?
I always say I'm a businessman first, a poker player second, chasing my real passion and still playing poker at the same time. And as far as this year goes, a year after I won Player of the Year, I'm not going to back down because defending would be awesome.
Mike, I'd pay big money to see you on one of those caster boards going down the street. All right, the antes are going up to 10,000, blinds of 40 and 80,000. Back to the action, a quick fold by Moritz Kranich. Now the chip leader, John Caridad's going to raise with king 10 of diamonds. Ivey going out.
Now, John been very active so far at this final table. Picking up some hands, but right behind him, Justin Smith picks up a pair of 10s.
Is Justin going to re-raise? No, just makes a sneaky call. Rob Ivey going away, and now the clothing manufacturer with a very snazzy shirt has gone all in with the ace-jack.
Huh? Looks like a big bet.
And it's gone in for a total of 405,000.
He's going to get the call by the Aussie.
Well, he can well afford to make that call, so he does so. Now it's back to Justin.
Come on.
Now he goes all in over the top. So he's trying to isolate himself here, or at least win a big side pot.
Yeah.
From the Australian, but he goes away.
So Justin's going to show the pair of 10s.
As you see the Canadian pumping his fist here. He's very happy to be in a race situation, to have 2 overcards against the under pair.
I got it, I feel it.
He can triple up if he wins this pot.
Well, there's Eric's friends.
Best hand I could have seen. Come on.
Sweat the short stack at this point. Got this tournament through a $1,000 satellite. Dream still alive. Can he get lucky on this flop? Yes, he does.
He takes the lead with 2 aces as it comes ace-6-3.
Nicely done. He gets up from his seat. There is hope. Justin disappointed. Here comes the turn.
Well, a deuce of spade comes off. So Justin gonna have to catch a 10 to win this pot. John folded one, so we only got 1 left. Doesn't happen as the 7 of clubs comes off. So the businessman from Canada taking down this pot with a nice triple up there.
Let's play some poker.
Well, with that triple up by Eric, everybody's got chips now, Vince. It's anybody's game.
That is right. The old shirt man puts the starch on Justin, takes down that pot.
There's more World Poker Tour. Stay tuned.
The World Poker Tour is brought to you by ClubWPT.com. Play poker for your share of over 100,000 in cash and prizes for only $19.95 a month. Never lose another dime playing poker, guaranteed.
Yeah, I love Bellagio. It's a beautiful casino hotel.
Bellagio is the best place in the world to play. Even when you get a bad beat, just go outside, you see the fountains, listen to some music. You can't find that anywhere else.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by our Season 9 sponsor, ClubWPT.com.
Well, Vince, let's share with our viewers how they could become the next WPT finalist, courtesy of our sponsor, ClubWPT.com.
Oh, well, Mike, I have to say, I can't believe how great ClubWPT.com is. Really. For $19.95, anybody can put up that money per month, and you get to play in tournaments, you get to win cash, you get to win big prizes, and we have a player, LaRon Washington, who went on to win a WPT championship. So I truly feel it is the best deal in poker.
As they say at the club, you'll never lose another dime playing poker, guaranteed. Let's get back to the action. John's going to raise it up on an ace-6 here. Phil Ivey with the king-queen is going to make the call. Ivey said he loves sitting behind chip leaders because he's got position on them.
And now the young 22-year-old Justin Smith out. Online pro, Rob Ivey also folding.
225 or 205?
And now it is the tailor, the clothing man, the shirt guy, who actually got those cuffs designed at 31 flavors. He's also going to fold. So two-way action, and here's the flop.
And flop comes queen, deuce, deuce. No continuation bet by the Australian. And look at this. He checked, and Ivey checked right behind him, even though he flopped top pair. Just wants to camouflage that fact. Now an 8 of spade comes off. And again, John checks, but Ivey's not checking this time.
He's going to bet 300,000.
The Australian didn't make the continuation bet on the flop. You'd think a guy would. But the Australian wants no more of Ivey. He learned his lesson early on at this final table. Fooling with him is not the best thing to do. So he lets it go, and Ivey takes down another pot.
Phil Ivey is probably the best player in the world.
I think he's just smarter than all of us on a poker table.
Do I really need to talk about Phil Ivey?
It's no surprise why they would call him probably the best player in the world.
I'm definitely one of poker's greatest players of all time.
Phil Ivey is in his own league.
There's times where I play really good, and there's times where I don't play as well. I mean, just like any other poker player, you know, I'm human. You know, I take the game very seriously. I have a lot of good results because of my hard work. And, you know, I have some talent for the game. I'm just grateful and feel very fortunate that, you know, I'm able to play a game that I love and make a living from it. I mean, you can't ask for more.
Oh, he is great, but what is about all that hard work? I hear he just goes out to clubs and plays craps. Who are we kidding?
You ask any pro poker player in the world who the #1 player in the world is, every one of them to a man will say Phil Ivey. He's the top tournament winner of all time, the top cash game winner, the top online winner. He's also made the most final tables in the history of the World Poker Tour.
All right, and once again, Phil, with ace Jaka clubs going to raise to 200,000 to go. A few folds around the table. Up to his old nemesis, the Australian, John Caridad, who's going to make a call with queen 4.
Well, John just getting a little stubborn now, trying to beat Ivey a pot so bad. Hasn't done so yet today. And flop comes king, jack 10. So Ivey out in front with the 2 jacks, but John has an open-ended straight draw.
Yeah, John is checked, and Ivey going to bet away 300,000.
Now John's going to make the call with the straight draw.
Pair of 10s on the board. John checking again.
Now, this card will probably scare Ivey. He knows the guy's got something. He's got kings, he's got jacks, he's got 10s, or an open-end straight draw. One of those hands he has to have. So Ivey wisely checks, in my mind, right behind him. Now a 6 comes off. John just checking. He's waving the flag. Can't win the pot with just a queen high here.
Queen high.
Ivey's going to take it down with 2 jacks. And one more time, Ivey takes down the Australian.
Yes, he does. And with that hand, Phil Ivey has become our new chip leader. How do you like that? All right, antes are going up to 10,000. Blinds 50 and 100. Rob Akery once again out.
Well, the shirt maker out of Canada looks down at 2 5s here.
I'm all in.
Whoa. And he's going all in on the short stack, just going to shove it out there with the 2 5s.
Like he should. Moritz out. The Aussie out as well. He even got Ivey to fold. Boosted J. Oh, he's got jacks.
But he's going to make the call.
Oh, the Taylor in a lot of trouble right now as his friends look on.
Come on, one time.
Yeah, one time, he says. That's the desperation prayer in poker when a guy says one time.
Yeah, was that one time, the time he hit the aces, though, early on. He needs the second time.
I don't know why I feel it again.
They say one time now, but he'll say one time again later, and one time again later. Yeah, flop comes king, 10-4. So far, Justin's 2 jacks out in front. Eric is going to have to catch a 5, or he's going to be heading back to Montreal.
I'm staying in Vegas.
Oh, boy, he says he's going to stay in Vegas.
Now, why not celebrate wherever you come in? Well, a 9 comes off on the turn, so the shirt maker from Canada is going to pop his last button unless a 5 comes up on the river.
And there's his buddies rooting him on. Can he pull off the miracle?
Come on, do this. Once.
Nope. 3 of diamonds comes off. So that's going to do it for the Canadian Eric Afreet, out tonight in 6th place.
I was very lucky against you.
Well, he shakes hands. He's a gentleman. He picks up a lot of fans and friends. 119,000 to go with it.
All the best.
But the Taylor has to say goodnight. He sticks himself with his pin. We are down to 5 players. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more exciting poker brought to you by ClubWPT.com.
3 days away from a WPT title. Think positive. I'm ready to play some poker.
This is Phil Hellmuth, that he's entering the WPT here in Bellagio, and I will try to get something out of him. This is so exciting. Right, I hope I don't fall over.
I love coming at the last possible minute, and it's a break-even play. Coming this late, you're at a big disadvantage in that you don't have very many chips.
Right.
But you're at an advantage. There's only 100 players left, and it's just kind of nice. And, you know, I'm due. Maybe this could be it. I love it. I can play 9 hours today, 9 hours tomorrow. I'm at the final table. Knock it off after about 5. Boom, boom, boom. You're focused, ready. All in. That didn't last long. I forgot to win a hand today. So, I mean, not very many tournaments where I don't win a single hand.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. That is the very colorful and genius poker player, Phil Hellmuth, who came, who saw, who busted.
Well, Phil Ivey, like Phil Hellmuth, bought in on day 3 of this tournament. The difference is Phil Ivey's at the final table with the chip lead.
All right, down to the felt we go. 5 players remaining. And the Aussie, John Caridad. Very tough so far. Amateur player quickly folds. And now Phil Ivey with a pair of fives is going to raise to 250.
Right behind him, the 22-year-old superstar Justin Smith looks down at an ace-10. He knows Ivey could be raising on any two cards, so he's going to look him up here with the ace-10, makes the call.
The Englishman Rob Akery not going to play his hand, and now in the big blind, the German Moritz Kranich.
I'm all in.
He's going to look at a pair of eights, and he says all in.
Wow, and a healthy all-in bet it is.
How much is that?
2.3 about.
Ivey's only got about 3.5, so he's not going to make the call. Too much money.
Good muck right there, but Boosted J is considering this with his ace-10.
Well, again, he's got about 3.4 million. Cost him 2.3 to make this call. Tough to make with an ace-10, I can tell you.
And Justin shaking his head.
The beauty about having an ace in your hand, unless your opponent specifically has two aces, the worst you're going to be is about a 2-to-1 dog. Doesn't matter what he has.
Like 30 more seconds.
It's ironic. And then if he could see Moritz's hands, he would beat him in the pot here because he'd be getting a great price to call in a race situation.
There's Justin's dad having a coronary there. Can't watch.
It's like a migraine headache. So he's going to lay it down.
So the German is going to put the lemon on the schnitzel and take down that pot. He's only been playing poker as a professional for 4 years.
I definitely think I had the best hand. Pretty sure I had the best hand, actually.
Yeah, Morris playing in his first ever WPT event. Made it to this final table. Has had some success in Europe. Doing very well in his first WPT event.
I've won the EPT in Deauville 1.5 years ago. Biggest poker accomplishment so far. And all in all, the field in this tournament was much tougher than it was in Deauville. So it's already an accomplishment for me to be on the final table.
One tough customer, this Moritz. All right, back to the felt we go. Action's going to Justin. He quickly folds, and now the Englishman, Rob Akery, looks at an ace-jack, and he's going to shove.
Well, hadn't done much so far, but all of a sudden he's going all in here with the ace-jack.
Moritz out, the Aussie out as well, but Ivey picks up ace-queen, and he's going to call. Rob Akery in a bit of trouble. 24-year-old in his first WPT tournament as well. Ace-jack up against Ivey's ace-queen.
Well, ace-queen's been the nemesis of Phil Ivey over the years at these final tables. Let's see if it holds up here.
Here we go.
Now flop comes 8-6-4. So far, so good for Ivey. Is ace-queen still winning? The board could pair twice where they'd split the pot. To win it, Rob needs to catch a jack.
Yep, he doesn't catch it there. 6.
Well, the board does pair sixes, so an 8 or 4 would give him a split. The jack will give him the win. Otherwise, the Brit is going to be heading out of here.
Rob has to get extremely lucky. Otherwise, it's back to playing checkers on his shirt. Let's see the river.
Well, said if he wins, he's going to buy a villa in Vegas. He's going to have to hold off on that villa as the 9 of spades comes off, and that's going to do it for the Englishman. Rob Akery out in 5th place.
Yeah, takes home an impressive 169,000, close to 170. Shakes hands. He's a gentleman. He's young. He'll be back, I'm sure.
And Ivey takes one step closer to capturing his second WPT title. Well, ace-queen has been like poison ivy for Phil Ivey in the past on the World Poker Tour.
Phil is out of this tournament.
Once again, the ace-queen came back to haunt him just like it did at Foxwoods. Ace-queen is a hex for Phil Ivey.
This just in from WPT Live updates. People are tweeting, Phil Ivey now winning with ace-queen. Poker world in trouble now. We're down to 4 players at Bellagio. Stay tuned.
I'm definitely an action junkie. You know, I like betting on a lot of different things. I just can't help myself. You bet what your bankroll can afford. You know, it's just all relative, you know. What might be big for you might not be big for me.
That's putting it mildly, Vince.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com. And that was Phil Ivey, who's our chip leader right now.
Doesn't matter what activity it is, whether it's on the golf course, betting on games, playing in the pit, or playing high-stakes poker, Phil Ivey is always gambling at the highest levels possible.
All right, to the felt we go. John Caridad, amateur player out of Australia, quickly folding, and now Phil Ivey with the button with a 9-10 is going to raise. 250 to go.
And a position raise on the button.
Booster J out, but Moritz is going to call with ace-9.
Yeah, knows Ivey could be raising with any 2 cards, so he's going to look at a flop here. Oh, and it's come 9-7-3. This flop could be big trouble for Ivey. He's flop top pair. The problem is Moritz is flop top pair with a better kicker.
Moritz has checked it, and Ivey's going to bet. With the nines, he bets 350. And the German just going to slyly call. Here comes the turn.
I'm very surprised the German didn't raise him there. But an ace comes off.
Maybe smart not to. He's hit 2 pair now, and he's going to check again.
Well, he's checking. Ivey going to check right behind him. How's that for poker instincts?
Down to the river we go. The German in great shape.
And now a 6 comes off. Now Moritz quickly is going to bet 750,000.
Well, Phil might be an action junkie, but this is the time to pull back.
And you can see his mind just whirring away right there, trying to put the pieces of this puzzle together.
This would be a nice pot for Moritz. Gain a lot of confidence, take one down from Phil, and it's going to work.
In poker, money saved is money earned. Phil Ivey didn't bet on the turn and threw his hand away in the river when his opponent bet.
Nicely done. It's Oktoberfest here in the Fontana Lounge. Very nicely done by the German. Moritz, 30 years old, out of Hamburg. All right, now we're going around to the next hand.
Now Justin's going to raise it on the button with a 9-8.
Makes it 240 to go. Moritz out. But the Aussie, John Caridad,
is a property developer in Australia, an amateur player, playing in his first ever WPT event. But he's going to make the call, knowing this young 22-year-old from America is a very aggressive, bold player. And looks like a good thing he did as he flopped 2 aces as it comes ace 9-3 with 2 spades.
And the Aussie's going to check. Try to trap a little bit. Will Justin make the continuation bet with the nines? Yes, he does. 340,000. Guess who's getting out some raisin chips?
$1 million straight.
Well, 1 million straight is the bet. And that should send the message loud and clear to Justin that your 2 nines are no longer any good.
Only 22 years old, high stakes cash game player, making the right lay down right there.
So nicely done there. The last 2 pots, the foreign players have got the best of the tough Americans.
And there's a couple other Royal Flush girls, Melanie and Sunisa, enjoying the moment at Bellagio. We are as well, and the antes are going up to 15,000. Line's now 60 and 120. John Caridad with a quick fold. Ivey out. And now Justin Smith with a 4-3 of clubs.
Well, Justin's in the small blind. He's going to limp in and make the call. Wants to see a flop with his hand.
But the German Moritz behind him with a king 3 in the big blind. Had an option to raise, but he's content to see a flop.
The flop comes Jack 9-6, all hearts. Justin, of course, has nothing. But he is going to bet. Going to try to win this pot right here, but it's not going to work because Moritz has a king-high flush draw, so he's going to make the call.
Yeah, 230,000 worth. Turn card coming up.
A 10 of diamonds comes off. A bit of a scare card to both players, even though it doesn't help them. Looks like it might help the other guy.
Well, Justin checks, and the German checks behind him. We're going to the river.
Well, ace of diamonds comes off on the river. Justin knows the only possible way he can win this pot's to bet at it, and he's doing that. 560,000. Moritz goes out, so Justin Smith fighting for that pot, bluffing on the river to take it down.
So Justin Smith, with the pressure, gets the German to take his submarine into the ocean depths.
Yep, it's like Justin opened the hatch and then said, dive, 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 and the German went under.
I'm Melanie, one of the Royal Flush girls, and you're watching the World Poker Tour.
We love Las Vegas!
If I'm dating a guy, I would love to play poker one-on-one and find out about his personality, see what kind of tricks he has up his sleeve. If a guy doesn't know when to fold, that's like a turn off for me. If a guy is bluffing in the game, that's okay. Just can't be too often. If he's bluffing on me, cut you off.
Welcome back to Bellagio and the World
brought to you by ClubWPT.com. And right now, the Aussie John Caridad has raised. Ivey's called with a pair of deuces. And look at this, Moritz Kranich with king-queen is going to call. Here comes the flop.
So three-way action here. Flop is queen, queen, 4 with 2 hearts. Great flop for Moritz. He's flopped 3 queens.
But he's going to try to trap. He's quickly checked, as does John and Phil Ivey. No one's going to fall into that trap. Here comes the turn card. It's a jack. Jack's going to help John Caridad.
Well, it's going to help him get broke.
And Moritz not going to play it sneaky anymore. He's going to stick out a bet of $525,000 with his 3 of a kind.
So the chip leader with the 2 jacks, drawing dead as we can see. No card he can catch is going to win him this pot. So whatever he puts out there is just kissing goodbye.
Well, he doesn't know better. He's going to make this call. He's in trouble. Ivey gets out of the way.
So we're going to the river here. And a 3 comes off. I think Moritz very well aware his opponent could have 2 jacks here, so he's going to make a bet on the river, and a healthy bet it is, $770,000.
German puts more sauerkraut into the pot.
How much shove left?
And this is troubling if you're the Aussie.
Well, he's asking him how many chips he has left, which is totally irrelevant. You're never in a million years going to raise here with a jack 10 in this spot. You might make a crying call, which if he does, he'll lose his dough, but never, ever are you going to raise. You're going to call or fold. And he's making the call.
Oh, and the Aussie's going to make the mistake. He has paid him off.
So the 3 queens of the German going to win this pot. And with it, he's going to take the chip lead at this final table.
He is taking the tank and he's rolling over bodies to the complete delight of his German friends chanting on the rail.
I mean, all Europeans always think they're at the soccer game, but this is not soccer events. It's the World Poker Tour. 4 players left, and we've got the greatest poker player in the world, Phil Ivey, still left, fighting it out for his 2nd WPT title.
Phil's 9th final table. Winner's going to take home close to $900,000. We are down to these 4.
What a way to kick off a new season on the World Poker Tour.
Please join us again for the exciting conclusion of the Bellagio Cup 6 from Las Vegas. Until then, from Mike Sexton and Vince Van Patten, I'm Kimberly Lansing, and this is the WPT. Good night.
We got it! The German taking it to the American Justin Smith.
I'll just have to screw him up here.
I need a that count.
Don't make me draw dead. One time, Jack 6, come on, people.
And out come the beautiful Royal Flush girls, bringing in the cold hard cash.
The TV's gonna like that one.
Wow, it is not over, though.
But it's not over yet.
The World Poker Tour is brought to you by ClubWPT.com. Never lose another dime playing poker, guaranteed.
Tonight, 5 days of grueling competition comes to an end as one player's dream of becoming a WPT champion will finally be realized, and the others will find their hopes dashed on the turn of a card. The thrilling conclusion of the Bellagio Cup 6 starts now, right here on the World Poker Tour.
Well, the crowd all standing.
He is circling the drain.
They are going bare knuckles in the center of the ring.
He would love to knock this loudmouth out.
Phil Ivey staring this Australian down. What a call by Phil Ivey right there.
Good call.
The shirt maker out of Canada looks down at 2 5s.
I'm on.
Booster J. Oh, he's got jacks.
So that's going to do it for the Canadian Eric Afreet out tonight in 6th place.
Rob Akery looks at an ace-jack, and he's going to shove. But Ivey picks up ace-queen.
The Englishman out in 5th place.
Oh, and the Aussie's going to make the mistake. He has paid him off.
So the 3 queens of the German going to win this pot, and with it, he's going to take the chip lead at this final table.
As you can see from those highlights, we've got a good one here tonight in Las Vegas. I'm Kimberly Lansing, and let's not waste any time, but go right down to poker's best commentators, Mike Sexton and Vince Van Patten.
Thanks, Kimberly. We started 4 days ago with 353 players, making for a first place prize of $875,000.
Well, Mike, a new WPT champion will be crowned here tonight on the World Poker Tour, but a lot more poker to be played. Cards are ready to fly. Let's check the chip count first and then get back down to the game.
Well, our chip leaders from Germany, Moritz Kranich with about 4.6 million, but in second place, the legendary Phil Ivey, making his 9th WPT final table appearance, going for his second title tonight.
As the Royal Flush Girls look on. All right, Andes are going to be 15,000. Blinds are 80 and 160,000. Cards have been dealt, and Moritz Kranich quickly folds his hand, as does John Caridad from Australia.
Now Phil Ivey going to limp into the small blind with the 8-5 of diamonds. 22-year-old superstar Justin Smith is the worst two-card starting hand you can have in Hold'em. There's a 7-deuce offsuit, but he gets a free flop. Happy to get one. Flop comes 8-6-4 with 2 diamonds. What a flop for Ivey. Well, as you can see, we're using the graphics for the 4-color deck, and very clear to see Phil Ivey's straight flush draw there in blue.
And he's going to bet 160,000. Now, Booster J, as they call him, he's going to try to get fancy here. He's going to make a raise, going to 480,000.
Well, it's just trying to take this pot away from Ivey.
How much more you have? 2 million. I think I have 2 million.
Ivey says, how much you got in your wallet, sir?
No, 1.8.
Ivey looking to extract it all here, just trying to figure out what's the best way to do it.
Come on, man.
But he's going all in here, and Justin Smith will be going all out, I can promise you that.
A meek smile by Justin.
Trying to make one of those macho plays with a 7-deuce offsuit, but how great is this to start off another season on the World Poker Tour with the likes of Phil Ivey still left with 4 players left.
The TV's gonna like that one.
It's so tempting to try to bully a Phil Ivey out.
You let me in there with the deuce 7 offsuit, Phil. Good job. Good trap, man.
I was waiting for that play all day. I thought I was cursed. I thought the WPT had a curse on me.
Ivey has busted out. Phil Ivey's got to be thinking to himself, am I ever going to win a WPT tournament?
I'm glad that I won the last one. You know, it would suck to be at my 9th final table without one win. You know, I think I'm supposed to win 1 out of 5, so it'd be nice to win this one today to, you know, get my average back to more respectable.
Well, Vince, he said he'd like to win 1 out of 5. The truth is, he'll take 2 to 1, no more than 3 to 1, anytime he sits down at a final table. You'll never have to lay him 5 to 1, believe me.
All right, back to the cards. Action on Phil. He's going to raise with a pair of deuces, makes it 400,000. Justin Smith out. The German Moritz not going to play.
Okay, over to the Aussie, John Caridad. He looks down at King Queen. Well, he's sitting up in a seat.
He's a property developer in Australia, only 36 years old. Not a professional poker player, but he is battling beautifully here tonight with the best.
Well, he's been playing poker for 7 years. This is his first WPT event.
And he's going to make this call with just King Queen.
Wants to see a flop. So Ivey with the deuces. John with the King Queen. Here's the flop. 7-7-4.
Nothing happening there for the Aussie.
And he's going to check.
Now let's see if the great Phil Ivey will make the automatic continuation bet.
Oh, but look at this, Vince. The Aussie has pulled his sunglasses down. Now, usually when players do that, it's an indication they're going to play the pot. Maybe that threw Ivey off of betting on the flop there with his 2 pair, and it may cost him because a queen comes up on the turn.
Oh, you're right, he checked it, and look at this. The Aussies hit his queens. They both check.
And now a 3 of diamonds comes off. So I'm sure John feels like he's got the best hand now with queens up. He's reaching for chips. He's going to bet it.
Wow.
$500,000. Well, this is a case where Ivey was thrown off by the Australian. Just indicated he had some kind of hand on that flop.
And now the Auss is going to try to throw him off again by doing the old water bottle trick. I'm so casual, I'm so strong. Hurt me, friend. But we know he's pretty good.
Well, there's Phil Ivey's mother. I'd be very proud of the success that her son has had in his life.
Wow, he's going to get paid off.
Yep. So there you go. Ivey making the call to compound his problems here. He recognizes now, had he bet on this flop, he'd have won that pot. He paid him off on the river.
That awful Aussie chant goes out through the room of the Fontana Lounge. Well done, John.
We've got more from Bellagio Cup, including 5 questions with Justin Smith, Tony Dunst giving us the raw deal, and my interview with Mike the Mouth Mataso. A lot going on. Don't go away.
But it's not over yet.
Registering late, I loved it because I was able to play the cash game for the first 2 days and then kind of pop in on day 3.
We're all crazy buying in late like this.
Where else do you get a chance to just come in? There's only 100 people left. I think a lot of us are going to do it. You know, we don't have a ton of chips, but if I double up, I mean, I got a shot.
I didn't realize it was day. I thought it was day 2.
All the DJs buying in late.
It was a nice day. It was a decent day of work. I'm not complaining.
It's worked out so far coming in day 3. Maybe I'll give it another try, see how it works out the next time.
Well, Vince, let's share with our viewers how they could be the next WPT finalist with the help of ClubWPT.com.
I love ClubWPT.com. It is amazing. For $19.95 a month, that's all you pay. You get to play in all these tournaments. You can win big money, big prizes. You know, for $19.95, that is like the best deal ever in poker.
Well, as they say at the club, you'll never lose another dime playing poker, guaranteed.
That's right.
Okay, let's get back to the table.
John Caridad, he's going to raise here with the King 10. Makes it $420,000 to go.
Well, he's the chip leader. He's in position here. But that's not stopping Phil Ivey from coming over the top and re-raising it. Makes it $1.1 million with the ace-jack offsuit.
How much you got behind, Phil?
Justin out.
2.3.
253.
He said 2.3, not 253.
Well, John, looks like he's in terrible agony here. He asked Ivey how many chips he's got. Now, you talk about tails on a player, Vince. It's very obvious he doesn't have that strong of a hand, and I promise you, if he moves in now, Ivey will beat him in the pot. Well, John does lay it down. It's probably a good thing for him he did so, because I'm certain that Ivey would have called him there.
That hand, next time I get it, just fold. I should just fold it.
So some power poker by Phil Ivey right there.
Now, Phil Ivey is as cool a customer as there is in the poker world, that's for sure. Taking down a pot, going for his second WPT title. Already leads in every possible category in the poker world. Most tournament money won, most cash game money won, most online money won. He's the man.
Now the antes are going up to $20,000 though, and $100,000 and $200,000. And right now, Phil Ivey with ace-5 has raised to $500,000.
Come on.
But all in by Justin Smith right behind him.
How much is it?
About $2 million.
I need an exact count. I need to know exactly.
Well, Phil Ivey now asking him how much he's got. Wants an exact count here.
Oh, boy, I'm going to send these guys each a calculator for their birthdays. Could be the call of the tournament. But no, can't take the heat.
And what a nice all-in bet by the 22-year-old Justin Smith, who's made back-to-back final tables in this same event. Finished 3rd last year, looking to improve upon that this year.
At 22, Justin Smith is the mirror image of Phil Ivey a decade ago. Talented, feared, and playing nosebleed stakes at a tender age. Last season, Justin ended in 3rd place at this same event in a memorable final that saw him blow out his knee and having to play the rest of the match in excruciating pain. Now, Justin is back and focused on doing the one thing he's never accomplished. For all his success, he's never won a poker tournament. A year ago at this tournament, you took 3rd place, playing on television. Did that live up to your expectations?
I played on television a few times before. It didn't really affect me at all. It was cool finally to be at a WPT final table because that's what everybody used to watch before they even started playing poker. Unfortunately, I couldn't take that one down, but at some point or another, I'll hopefully win a WPT.
Was it a wise decision to have Mike Mataso sweating you at that final table?
He can't fake you!
I mean, it's not like I asked him to come, but at least I had some competition with Alex's fans. Mike equals like 7 Brazilians.
You're really a high-stakes cash game player. You have to be the youngest guy at the table. You're 22.
I'm old.
Yeah.
I'm like an old fogey in this business. I've been around the block.
What's a bigger adrenaline rush? Playing in a high-stakes cash game or a big tournament poker game like WPT?
That's a pretty good question. It really depends on how big of a poker game.
What keeps you playing?
I want to do whatever I can to be the best. And that's just my whole motivation. I'm definitely ready to win a tournament. I don't know how I haven't done it yet, but I'm sure it's going to happen sooner or later.
Well, Mike, Justin says he's old. If he's old, we're fossils, my friend.
We're an archaeologist's delight, Vince, that's for sure. Now Justin going for his first win tonight. In great shape, has a chance to do it. Let's see if he can.
I'm all in.
All right, back to the table. Moritz from Germany with the ace-9 has gone all in.
I call.
And a quick call by John from Australia with ace-queen. Wow.
Well, Ivey also has an ace high.
Yeah.
He's going to easily muck it.
They are plunging away here at the Fontana Lounge. And another ace there. Four guys with aces.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's very rare.
You're good.
Well, Moritz says you're good. He turns up the ace-9. His opponent's got the ace-queen.
Ace-9. Okay. First card I looked at.
And the German right now, Moritz Kranich, in a lot of trouble.
Well, a massive pot, nearly $6 million in this pot. So whoever wins, it's going to be the chip leader.
Well, it's the first WPT tournament for both of these players.
Well, good flop for John as it's come king 10-8.
It could be over for Moritz. He needs to get extremely lucky if he's going to stick around.
Got a straight draw.
Sweat. 7 of spades, I'll sweat.
He's got to catch a 9 or...
7 of spades is cool.
Combination of 2 runners to make a straight, but he is up against it right now. The German not looking good. He hit it. Wow, it is not over though. John can catch a jack or a queen to win this pot.
Queen or a jack one time, please. Come on.
Unreal.
Well, John begging for a jack. A queen will do it for him as well. Must have one of those 2 cards to win this hand.
Complete devastation for John. Now he wants to get lucky.
Jack. Well, Moritz leaning back, holding his breath right now. Got a dodger, a jack or a queen, and he does it as an 8 comes off. What a draw out by the young German pro.
Well, I'll tell you, the sauerkraut is back on the hot dog after that hit. They are chanting.
Oh, you're right, Vince. He took the bratwurst and hit him in the head with it.
Oh, yes.
Well, they are cheering their man on. And Vince, I'll tell you, the Australian looks direly sick to me right there, and you can't blame him.
That shouldn't happen against you.
I know. Not your fault.
He is just sick that he could be that unlucky in that situation.
John Caridad just took a tough beat, one of many we've witnessed this week at Bellagio. As we go to break, here's a look at the pain of poker.
That's crazy. Worst things have happened to me this week, I swear to you.
How do you play so bad?
I got.
Listen to me.
All you can eat, baby.
Just a bad movement.
You called my race with Jack 10. I don't care. Do it.
Yeah, I don't want to go out that way.
This is going to be all night.
Bellagio Poker is a destination due to the type of games that we offer here, from small limits to the highest limits in the world.
It's one of the best casinos in the world for sure, especially for poker.
We are back at Las Vegas at the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com, where 4 players are going after close to 900,000.
And players from around the world do love coming to Bellagio. If you're a poker player, you got to love the action here.
To the table we go. Our chip leader from Germany, Moritz, quickly folds his hand. And now John Caridad.
I'm all in.
Looks at 1 jack and moves all in. Doesn't even look at the second card.
Uh-oh.
I call.
As Justin Smith has made the call with 2 queens.
Still one, it's a jack.
At least he'd like an overcard, a king or an ace.
Wow.
Doesn't get it. He's got a jack 6 offsuit. As you can see, Justin nearly a 90% favorite to win this pot.
Jack 6 one time.
And eliminate the Australian.
One time, Jack 6. Come on, people.
Optimistic anger coming out of John's mouth.
Well, he said, look, I just had ace queen, lost to an ace 9. Maybe I can get lucky and outdraw somebody.
Oh. A rage of hope happening for John. Can he get lucky here? No.
Well, it's come 10-8-4.
I'll take a 5 or a 7. A 5 or a 7.
Yeah, a 9's not the best card.
Yeah, 9. Yeah, 9's not bad either.
Staying optimistic.
5, 7, or 9. Come on. Don't make me draw dead.
Now, he just wants to catch a card where he still have a sweat, but doesn't happen as the king comes off.
Wow.
6 on the river. Well, that's going to do it for John Caridad.
Good luck, mate.
timing for me.
The 36-year-old out in fourth place.
Oh, yes, the property developer is going to take home a big number, close to $240,000. A lot of respect for this man. Had a few tough beats, but right now we are down to 3. Justin Smith now in second chip position.
Current chip leader is Moritz Kranich from Germany. And as you said, Justin's moved into second chip position. The great Phil Ivey in third place right now.
Well, look at this. Moritz on this hand with Big Slick has raised to $440,000. Ivey out. But Justin in the big blind with just a king-6 of hearts is going to call.
Well, there's $800,000 out there. Cost him $240 to call, so he's getting over 3-to-1 odds on his money. Taking a chance here. But that flop, no help to him as it comes ace-9-3.
But it's good for the German. Justin has checked, and Moritz with the continuation bet sticks $525,000 out there. And I'll tell you something, it's always nice to do the continuation bet and actually catch the top pair too.
Look at this, Vince. Justin has made this call. This is what we call a float bet in poker. You're making a call with no hand and no draw in an effort to steal the pot from your opponent later on. Now Justin's going to check here. And as if opponent checks, Justin's definitely going to try to win this pot on the river. But as you can see, Moritz has no intentions of checking here.
He's got a great hand, and he's not going to play it slow, it looks like. Getting chips out when you drop them in.
Yeah, he's going to put them out there. Make no mistake about it. Looks like over 800,000.
And Justin, 22 years old and a lot of imagination, but this time it could be backfiring.
Well, he's drawing completely dead here. Any moves he makes at this pot, he's just going to be donating the chips over to the German, I can tell you, because he's not going anywhere. And Justin does give it up after thinking about making a move at this pot. Wisely surrendered.
What pressure was seen by the German? Taking it to the American Justin Smith. Justin disgusted after that. Creativity's one thing. Taking big pots is another.
I'm sitting here with Rick Solomon. I'm not quite sure what he does, but I do know that he's a poker player you don't want to mess with. Who are we rooting for right now?
I'm rooting for Justin Smith. We made a deal that whoever one of us wins, we're gonna have a party.
Are we all invited?
Everybody can come.
And the Royal Flush Girls?
They can come for sure.
Well, we'll see if Justin can win. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
I don't think I have a real chance in short-handed against Phil Ivey, Justin Smith. I will try to be aggressive then and maybe win the coin flip. But if we really play short-handed for a long time, I think I'm not the best.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com. The humble chip leader saying, I can't play with these guys, please help me. But, you know, he's not doing too bad. He's got $7.6 million in chips.
Well, Vince, what he's doing is getting himself an honest evaluation of his best chances to win this tournament. Anytime you're playing heads up or short-handed against guys that you feel are better players than you, your mission should be to shorten the match, make it as quick as possible, try to play big pots, try to get in a race situation. If, on the other hand, you think you're the best player, your mission should be to stretch out the match and make it last as long as possible. I admire the guy for recognizing his best chance might be to play big pots early.
Phil Ivey with Jack-9 has called. Justin Smith has folded, and Moritz is content to see a flop with a Queen-Jack. Here's the flop.
Both players have flopped second pair.
Moritz has a better kicker. He has jacks for the queen. And Moritz has checked.
Well, Phil Ivey is going to bet the jacks as anybody would after a guy didn't raise before the flop and then checked on the flop.
Moritz is going to call. It's a $200,000 bet. There is an ace out there. Here goes 4th Street.
Well, because neither player raised before the flop, you're just not going to put your opponent on an ace, especially when another ace comes off. So again, Moritz checks. And again, Ivey is reaching for chips. Maybe he thinks his opponent's got a straight draw or a flush draw here, or just 2 4s. He's going to bet the jacks.
Yeah, $500,000. And Moritz with a pretty quick call.
Well, that should turn the light on for Phil Ivey that the guy's got something.
Ivey in a lot of trouble right now. Going to the river.
Well, the 3 of diamonds comes off. Moritz again checks the aces and jacks. Well, that's in my mind, this is just an easy check.
Wow.
But Phil Ivey is betting $700,000 here.
He can only get called if he's beat.
Well, unless you think your opponent's going to pay you off for the 4 in this spot, where you're just on a stone bluff or a king high.
I call.
Wow. He's been called, and Ivey is not going to like it. He turns up the jacks with a 9 kicker, but it's not going to beat the jacks with the queen kicker. So the German is going to take this pot down, and you can see the anguished look on Phil Ivey's face. Yeah, Ivey may be the greatest player on earth, but I didn't like his river bet there for 3 reasons. 1, if he's got the best hand, chances are he's not going to get paid off, so he gains nothing by betting. 2, if he gets check raised, he's toast. And 3, it's risk versus reward. If he wins the pot, he'll have multi-millions anyway, but if he loses it, going from 1.7 million down to 1 million is huge with the blinds and antes as high as they are now. Now, Tony Dunst has been following all the action. I'd like to hear what he's got to say.
Hi, I'm Tony Dunst, Bond 18 Online, and I do have a lot to say about that hand, Mike. And I must admit I see it rather differently. I think it's too easy to be an armchair quarterback and say that Phil made a mistake. It's also easy to not agree with his river bet for the reasons that Mike Sexton gave, but I think his analysis is results-oriented. What happens all the times when Phil bets the river and Moritz folds a worse pair or a missed draw? What about the times Moritz decides to hero call with a 4 or makes a sensible call with a worse jack and Ivey ends up looking like a genius for getting 3 streets of value on a weak holding? It's a mistake to believe the end result of a hand dictates what is good play from bad play. Let's break it down. Ivey limps the button holding Jack 9 and 13 big blinds, which is strange as most players would play this hand and this stack is a push or fold decision pre-flop. Ivey is likely assuming that Moritz will move in with many of his strongest holdings pre-flop, such as any ace, all pairs, king-queen, king-jack, even queen-jack, in order to avoid an awkward, out-of-position spot against Ivey post-flop. On the flop and turn, it seems to me that both players make the standard decision. I really like Ivey's river bet though, because the majority of the time he has the best hand against Moritz's range. Let me repeat that. The majority of the time he will have the best hand against Moritz's range, and he can potentially get thin value plus prevent Moritz from gaining information in the event he elects to fold. When Ivey turns over his hand, the look on his face tells me that he believes he has the best hand. I think the craziest thing about this hand is not how it played out, but that Phil Ivey actually had a reaction after it. Typically, Phil's the kind of guy who remains seated during a game-winning buzzer beater. I thought he was a robot, but that big reaction proves that he is human. What it doesn't prove is that he made a mistake.
I'll tell you could boil a cup of coffee on Phil's head right now. He is hurting.
Well, Vince, in my mind, he turned the burners on himself, though.
Action is on Phil. Moritz is folded.
Long win.
And Phil is going all in with just a queen 4.
Good call.
And a quick call by Justin Smith here. Knows Ivey might be steaming the way he played that last pot, so quickly calls him with king high.
Excellent call, and look at that look. Mama Ivey in complete pain there.
Right now, Justin Smith a little over a 60% favorite to win this pot and eliminate Phil Ivey from this tournament. And the flop comes 8-5-5. Justin has 2 pairs. Ivey is up against it now. He's got to catch a queen to take the lead or 2 runners to make a straight or force full. Well, an ace comes on the turn, so we are down to the river. And if Phil Ivey doesn't catch a queen, the king of poker will be gone in 3rd place.
His chances of becoming a 2-time WPT winner on the line. He's a long shot right now. Can he get lucky?
Well, it's a 10.
He does not.
So just like that, the great Phil Ivey out in 3rd place.
And there's Phil's mom, shattered by this 3rd place loss, but he will take home $363,000 to put into his piggy bank. Phil Ivey out here tonight.
The last hand was questionable. I had 1.1 million. I just took a shot to win the blinds.
Well, we're all pretty impressed. It's your 9th WPT final table.
Yeah, well, it's nice to be here again. You know, hopefully, we'll make it number 10 real soon.
Well, it goes to show you he is human, a great, great player. 9 times at the WPT final table, but he's out right now, and we are down to 2 players. Heads Up Action, brought to you by ClubWPT.com.
As is the custom on the World Poker Tour, when we get down to Heads Up Play, it's time for our money presentation. So show us the money!
And out come the beautiful Royal Flush Girls, brought to you by prestigious models, bringing in the cold hard cash. Who wouldn't want to draw to that hand? Millions on the table right now.
Out comes a customized watch, bracelet, and trophy that our champion is going to get tonight. Now tell the truth, Vinny. What's prettier, the Royal Flush Girls or all the cash?
They can both get you into a lot of trouble. Well, we have a great German player up against one of the best from the U.S., 22-year-old Justin Smith.
During the break, I spoke to Justin and Moritz. Here's what they had to say.
I've been wanting to win ever since I broke on in the live scene about a year and a half ago. I'm finally happy that I'm that close. This is definitely the closest I've been so far. So hopefully I can pull it down.
You and your buddies come to Vegas on a poker trip. I'd say this is a pretty darn good finale.
We will celebrate together. If I get second or first, will be big party tonight.
Heads Up Action is about to start. Let's get down to Mike and Vince.
Thanks, Kimberly. Well, as we start heads up play, Moritz Kranich, the chip leader by about a 2-to-1 margin. He's got nearly 9.4 million in chips. Justin Smith with about 4.8 million.
All right, action on the German, Moritz Kranich. First time playing a WPT event. He's got the button and he's just going to call. Round to Justin, who is a queen 8 offsuit.
Justin happy to see a flop, so here we go. Oh, nice flop for Justin. He's got 2 queens. Moritz, however, has an open-ended straight draw.
And they both check right there. Going to the turn.
And 4 clubs comes off. Justin's plan was probably to check raise the flop. That didn't happen. His opponent checked the open-end straight draw. Most people would have bet that, but not Moritz.
Well, Justin now bets 320,000, and Moritz, he's getting chips out.
Yeah, he's going to gamble here and make this call. And I always say it's a gamble when there's 2 of a flush on the board, because if one of your straight card comes up that suit, you're still a little nervous.
Well, he's gambling because he has a lot of chips as well.
Yeah.
Can he get lucky here?
Gonna have to catch a 5 or a 10 to win this pot, and he does advance as a 10 comes off.
Amazing.
He has made a straight.
Oh, don't do it to yourself, Justin. Slow down, Boosted J.
Yeah, he thinks his 2 queens are good, so he's gonna bet 730,000. I don't know that he needed to bet that much to find out what's gonna happen to him right now, because as we know, he's gonna get raised. Because Moritz hit lightning on the river to make this straight. Well, that's 2 million right there so far. And he's reaching for more.
Oh, man, he is sticking out a re-raise of 2,225,000.
Well, let's see if Justin can get away from this hand. There's Mike Mattisau, his buddy, but he's got the concerned look on his face, as he should have.
2,225,000, right?
Well, this would short stack Justin in a big way if he should make this call. Kind of tough to get away from it.
Guy didn't raise on the flop, didn't raise before the flop, didn't bet on the flop, called on the turn.
I love that fold. Look at that, beautiful fold. And the German extends his chip lead by gambling, hitting on the river.
This is one of those times where I'm not sure how I'm beat, but I'm pretty sure I'm beat. I just don't know how. It bugs me when I don't know how.
That is well said.
You talk about expert analysis.
I'm here with Mike Mattisau, who's here sweating Justin Smith. You know, earlier in the week, Justin told me having one Mike Mattisau is better than having a whole group of Brazilians.
That's true.
So I think that he's very lucky having you here tonight because we have a group of very rowdy Germans in the audience.
Well, we'll just have to screw him up here. I got out of the shower. There was 3-handed. I was just pulling up, and he had just busted Ivey, and they were head up. So I didn't have to wait through all the ups and downs of the long final table.
And he didn't injure himself tonight.
That's right. And he didn't injure himself tonight, but it's not over yet.
Nice to hear that the mouth showers. He's here tonight. And
well, Mattisau was here a year ago when Justin finished 3rd in this event. The Brazilian won that tournament, and they were really whooping and hollering for their man, and the Germans doing the same thing tonight for their man.
all right, the heads-up battle continues, and right now Justin Smith with a very attractive king 10 of hearts.
Come on.
And he says all in.
They're just not fooling around, going all in.
I call.
Wow, he's getting called because Moritz has an ace.
Well, Moritz has the best hand right now, and if his hand holds up, he'll be our champion.
Ace.
Well, everybody on their feet. Mattis out with a worried look on his face, as he should have.
Can't blame Justin, but now it's just up to the poker gods.
Well, nearly $6 million in this pot. Certainly can get Justin Smith right back on his feet. Moritz over there with his German friend saying, if I can just have my head hold up, I'll be the champion.
You can't look. Here comes the first three. Oh, so far so good for the German.
Yep, flop comes 8-7 deuce. The ace high is still the best hand. Justin looking for a king or a 10 to take the lead. He'd need 2 hearts or 2 cards to make it straight. That would win it for him also.
WPT title on the line. Here's 4th Street.
Well, a 6 comes off. That does give Justin a straight draw. Justin Smith must catch a king, a 10, or a 9. Otherwise, Moritz Kranich is going to be our champion.
The crowd on its feet. Moritz Kranich 1 card away from taking home $900,000.
Oh, it is a 9.
Oh, no.
Justin has made a straight. Don't celebrate too much. Don't start jumping, Justin.
The wheels are going to fall off.
We don't need any more injuries out here on the tour. Well, Justin knows he got very lucky there. He hit a river card to stay alive, and that look says it all by Moritz. He was 1 card away from taking home all that cash and putting the trophy on his mantle.
This guy's ready to go off. Look at him, guys. Look at him.
Talk about a sick beat. Justin back in action.
You just got boosted. There's more World Poker Tour. Stay tuned.
The World Poker Tour is brought to you by ClubWPT.com. Play poker for your share of over $100,000 in cash and prizes, and even become a WPT champion, all for only $19.95 a month. Never lose another dime playing poker, guaranteed. Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com. And Vince, there are a lot of young guns that can really play poker, including 22-year-old Justin Smith.
No doubt about it. And right now, the heads-up battle, the antes are going up to 25,000. Blinds are 150 and 3. Let's go to the felt. Action on Boosted J. Justin Smith, he's got king 6. And he's just going to call with it.
Well, he limps in on the button, and Moritz happy to see a flop. He's got the 10-9. And he's out flop, Justin. He's taking the lead with 2 9s as it comes Jack 9-3. He's checking. You know, checking to Phil Ivey every time. Won a lot of chips for the German. He's going to try the same strategy here with Justin Smith, and it looks like it's going to work again, Vince.
Yeah, Justin's coming out for a bet. Looks like 350, and he gets the quick call by Moritz.
Well, that should turn the caution lights on for Justin there. Now the board pairs 3s. Well, Moritz is going to check again. And this time Justin checks right behind him.
Yeah, learned his lesson. The river card, a 4 of hearts.
Well, Moritz quickly reaching for chips now. He's going to bet $550,000. And Vince, even though Justin only has king high here, he knows he could beat a flush draw or a straight draw possibly with that flop of Jack 9-3. And Justin's going to pay him off with king high, but this call is not going to work. Moritz is going to win the pot with 9s up.
Oh, the absolute displeasure of Justin. Moritz Kranich, the king of the checks, does it again.
And when you play against aggressive players, a lot of times that's the right strategy to extract the most chips from your opponent if they're going to bet when you check. It's working beautifully here so far for Moritz.
All right, to the next hand we go. Moritz now with an ace-5.
All in.
And look at this. He says all in. Justin, though, with an ace-3.
And Justin has about 3.3 million in chips.
I call.
But he's going to call.
He has made the call with an ace-3. I mean, whatever hand your opponent has, you can never be more than a slight favorite, even if he has something. He's not going to back into a flush or a straight. A 6 has come off. That means Moritz must catch a 5 on the river to win this pot and seal the deal right here.
900,000, but it's not to be. Another jack on the river. And Justin Smith having a hunch with his ace-3. Wow.
Well, Vince, right now, the German's got to be saying to himself, what is going on here? That's twice I've had this guy all in. Once I had ace high against king high. He won that pot. Now we both got ace high, but I got him out kicked, and I lost again. Well, this tournament started 5 days ago, and Vince, it's still not over.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com, where you'll never lose another dime playing poker, guaranteed.
And right now, Justin Smith has clawed his way back. We're almost even in chip count, and he has got to be feeling real good about his chances now. Could this be the night Justin Smith wins his first poker tournament?
All right, down to the money pit we go. Moritz Kranich from Germany with a 7-6, makes it 700,000 to go.
Well, Vince, his conservative play is going out the door now. He's going to get aggressive from here. As you can see, he's raising here with the 7 high, but called by Justin out of the big blind with the king jack.
Flop time.
Yeah, flop is ace queen 4. With 2 clubs, Justin's going to check his straight draw.
And let's see if the German will continue the larceny. Yes, he's going to try. 925,000.
Give him credit, Vince. He's trying to win this pot, but Justin has made the call for 925,000 with just a straight draw. He's got the best hand with king high.
All right, to the turn we go with 3 diamonds.
Action's on Justin. He's got the ace high straight draw, but the 3 gave Moritz a 7 high straight draw. He needs a gut shot 5.
Both slow down, and neither player gets a card as the 8 of hearts hits on the river.
Again, Justin checks the king high. The German is reaching for chips. He knows it's the only way he can win this pot is to try to bluff at it. He's doing events. He's betting over $1.5 million on a stone cold bluff.
That is a lot of heart there by the German to push that in right now.
Oh, this is kind of weird.
Well, this would be the call of the tournament, no doubt, if Justin Smith, boosted J, should happen to call this.
Well, Vince, if you talk to European players, they tell you German players are great mathematical players, but they lack heart. This guy doesn't lack heart here as he bets over $1.5 million on a bluff. Well, he called him earlier with just a king high. Remember when he thought he might have a straight draw or flush draw? Had he done it here, he'd have won that pot, but he didn't. Oh, and look at this, Vince. He's showing him the bluff. Wow.
Oh, boy. Get the salt shaker out, rub it around, throw it into that cut.
And Vince, I'll tell you one thing.
I had no pair.
That was a bold play right there by the German. Even though Justin said he had no pair, which he didn't, but still, to bet over $1.5 million on the river when you got called before the flop and on the flop with just 7 high, that shows me a lot of moxie.
Justin trying to say, look, it's not that good. I didn't have anything anyway, but brilliantly done. And now, by the way, the blinds are going up to 200 and 400,000. And look at this. Justin has picked up a whopper, pair of jacks, just like that, wired up. Now, how to play it. Still got a lot of chips, close to 6 million. You don't want to scare off your opponent, but you don't want to look obvious.
Well, he's just going to limp in.
Yeah.
And trying to camouflage the fact that he's got a big duke.
Moritz with the king 10 has gone all in, and the trap has worked for Justin Smith.
He's picked the cherry off the tree, Vince. He's got all his chips in there with way the best of it. That's all you can do in poker. He reeled him in. Now the question is, can he keep the fish on the hook, or will the fish wiggle off?
Jetzt kannst du noch andersrum gehen, ne?
I just limped.
Look at this. Justin knows he played it beautifully.
Well, if Justin Smith wins this pot, he'll have about 12 million in chips, be the monster chip leader in this heads-up battle. Everybody on their feet. Justin over a 70% favorite to win this pot. Well, it's come ace, queen, deuce with 2 diamonds.
So far, so good for boosted J.
Well, the jacks are still out in front. However, a jack will now give his opponent a straight. So he needs a king or a jack.
Noch kein Jack. Erst auf dem River.
Now the German is overdue to get lucky, and that's what he's going to need now.
Now a jack will give him a straight, a king will give him the lead.
Here we go with the turn card. What will it be?
My eyes, mine.
He gets a king!
A king of diamonds comes off. Unbelievable.
Oh, what a devastating card.
Well,
for boosted J.
Boosted J still has a straight draw and a flush draw event. A diamond will give him a win. and a 10 will give him a straight. A jack no longer wins it because that'll give his opponent a straight. So Justin now looking for a 10 for the straight or a diamond for the flush. He must catch one of those two cards. Otherwise, he's going to be our runner-up finisher.
Our title could come down to this card.
Oh, it's a 9 of hearts, and that's going to do it. The German has done it, Vince. He has gotten lucky and taken down this title. Heartbreak and disappointment for Justin.
Third last year, second this year. I guess you're going to have to get first next year. Don't be down.
Mike the Mount almost silenced there.
Again, man. You play good.
We have our champion of the Bellagio Cup, and it is Moritz Kronich from Germany, who now has $875,000 in his pocket, and the one thing money can't buy, a WPT title. From Las Vegas, this is Kimberly Lansing saying good night.
One of the professionals had ace queen. I think it was Phil, something like that.
What a call by Phil Ivey right there.
Do I really need to talk about Phil Ivey?
It's just so exciting.
I got
One time, Jack 6, come on, people.
What might be big for you might not be big for me.
And he's going to shove.
Now he goes all in over the top.
Trying to find those royal flush, girl.
You just got boosted.
Let's play some poker.
Just have to screw him up here.
Worst things have happened to me this week, I swear to you.
Hopefully, we'll make a number 10 real soon.
You got it! And until next time, may all your cards be live and your pots be monsters. The World Poker Tour is brought to you by ClubWPT.com. Never lose a dime playing poker. Guaranteed.
Welcome to Los Angeles and the legendary Bicycle Casino, which tonight is the home of second chances, as 3 players who've been under the WPT bright lights before take one more shot at poker glory. I'm Kimberly Lansing, and it's all happening tonight, only on the WPT.
Well, the crowd all standing. He is circling the drain. They are going bare knuckles in the center of the ring.
He would love to knock this loudmouth out.
Oh! Unbelievable. Doyle Brunson has done it.
Hall of Famer Doyle Brunson. Hall of Famer Dan Harrington. They don't call this tournament Legends of Poker for nothing, as some of the biggest names in poker history have taken this prestigious WPT title. And so it was no surprise that 5 days ago we saw 462 players ready to risk it all in hopes of writing their own names alongside the legends.
The Legends of Poker Day 1, let's shuffle up and deal.
Day 1 saw a field of old school pros going up against the young and aggressive. But the start of play belonged to poker legend Kathy Liebert, who received the first ever WPT 100 chip, commemorating playing in this, her 100th WPT event.
100th one.
Along with Kathy, the field included 3 former WPT Players of the Year. It was Season 8 Player of the Year Faraz Jaka, who proved loose play can result in an early exit.
I either bust in the first 2 hours or I final table. That's pretty much how it goes.
With Faraz out, there was still 1 seat waiting to be filled. Royal Flush girls Sunisa and Jennifer stood guard as the tournament clock clicked through level 3. Finally, the poker brat himself, Phil Hellmuth, showed up.
Good to see you here.
This is a nice greeting.
With Phil settling into some friendly talk with Shane Schlager, it was Alan Barry who sounded like he was auditioning to be the poker brat's replacement.
And I had Alan Kessler, who just handed me chips because he saw and then the rest of my table was
critic.
I'm gonna say how everyone sucks at poker besides me and 10 people.
Well, that's how you really
Tell it.
At the end of the day, 181 hopefuls had gone bust, leaving only amateur player Andy Frankenberger to break through a leaderboard dominated by young guns JC Alvarado, Kyle Wilson, Tom Braband, and topped by rising star Phil Collins, who despite suffering food poisoning went from worst to first and put himself in prime position to make his first WPT final table. Day 3 started with 60 players and chip leader Phil Collins feeling much better and making plans for the final table. Who would you like to see at the final table?
Well, the people that I'm friends with are all like the best poker players, so I don't know if I actually want them at the final table if I'm there. Like Sands or Titan Tom, the oldest 5 people that are still left.
And David Doc Sands seems to think Phil has a point.
I wouldn't say I have an advantage just inherently by being younger, but I think a lot of the younger guys have played, a lot online, so they have more experience, they played more hands.
But as the field entered the money, it was the young guns who fell by the wayside. Amit Makija, Jonathan Aguiar, and JC Alvarado all hit the rail, as did Phil Collins, who fell at the hands of WPT Player of the Year, Jonathan Little. As the day drew to a close, Titan Tom Braband won a race against David Sands, sending the Duck to the door. With 15 players left, two-time champ Jonathan Little had his 5th WPT final table in sight as he ended the day in 2nd place behind the surprisingly resilient amateur Andy Frankenberger. Attention-filled Day 4 began with the 2 chip leaders sitting right next to each other. But it was the young pro in 6th chip position, Adam Schiffer, who quickly got action from the oldest player still in the field, former WPT finalist Tom Lee. Adam went all in with pocket queens and got called with Tom's ace-queen. With an ace on the flop and an ace on the turn, Adam's hopes of making the TV table dimmed. And then his hopes vanished altogether as several hands later, 62-year-old Tom Lee woke up with ace-jack against Adam's ace-9, busting Adam out in 15th place. The biggest hand of Day 4 saw Jonathan Little and amateur Andy Frankenberger go at it. Jonathan Little bet after a flop of Jack 6 deuce. Andy called. Turn card comes 7 of spades. Andy bets and Jonathan calls. River is 10 of spades. Andy goes all in. Jonathan calls. Andy shows he made a backdoor flush holding 8-6. Jonathan mucks, gets up, and exits in 12th place, denied a chance at another WPT title. From that point, it took just 2.5 hours for the field to thin out to that all-important TV bubble. With 7 players left, it was not a young gun, but veteran Tom Lee who finished strong, knocking out Bicycle Casino regular Steve Reitzfeld and giving the final 6 players that all-important golden ticket to a WPT final table.
Gentlemen, congratulations on making the TV table.
As you can see in that recap, this Legends of Poker field was packed with talented young players with little respect for the old guard. Phil Collins said it outright. He just wanted a table with the 5 oldest guys in the room. So with that in mind, Mike, Vince, does that make 62-year-old Tom Lee the sentimental favorite or just a juicy target?
Well, Kimberly, what we've seen over the years is that experience under the bright lights is a bigger factor than age at these final tables. And Tommy Lee is one of 3 players at this final table that have been at a WPT final table before.
And Mike, as you know, that is huge. It is very tough to win your first time at a WPT final table. Now, I'll equate that to tennis. It's almost impossible to win in your first major at a final, but your second time you have a shot. Poker's the same way. 3 of these guys have been there before. They don't care about looking good tonight. They want to take home a title.
Well, there's only one sure thing in poker tonight, and that is we will see a new Legend of Poker crowned. Mike and Vince will be back with the call of the action right after this.
I'm Sinisa Kim, one of the Royal Flush Girls, and you're watching the World Poker Tour.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com. I'm Mike Sexton along with Vince Van Patten, and we are ready to get started with this final table, and it looks like the cards are about to be put in the air.
And that means just one thing. Let's go watch the bluffing begin.
And we started 4 days ago with 462 players. We are down to these 6. There you see our chip leader from New York, Andy Frankenberger, with about $3 million in chips.
Okay, Andy's going to be 3,000. Blinds 10 and 20,000. Cards are flying around the table. First to act is Jared Jaffee. He's been here before on the World Poker Tour final table.
Well, in fact, all 3 guys in seats 1, 2, and 3 have been at a WPT final table before.
Jared's going to quickly fold. Kyle Wilson, who's also been here, also folding. And now it's up to Tom Lee, the senior at the table, with an ace-7.
Well, he's starting out in second chip position here, but he's going to pop it up here with the ace-7 offsuit.
Makes it 50,000 to go. Franco Brunetti quickly folding, and now our chip leader, Andy Frankenberger, with an ace-jack.
And he's an equity derivatives trader out of New York. Did that for 15 years. Now on a year sabbatical.
What do you think that means?
I don't know if it means he got fired or he just quit to take a year off.
All right, he's going to call this. And now Tom Braband, the short stack at the table. They call him Titan Tom. He's got a pretty interesting queen 10 of hearts.
Well, he's getting a good price to make the call here. He's the youngest player at the table at 25 years old from Huntington Beach, California.
He's in the big blind, and he's going to speculate.
He has made the call, so here we go. Three-way action on hand number 1. The flop comes queen 9-7. Nice flop for Tom. He's flopped top pair.
Tom Brabant, but he's going to check it. Now Tom Lee with a pair of 7s, also checking. And Frankenberger hitting nothing, checks as well.
So everybody checking on the flop. Here's the turn card. A 7 comes off.
Oh, man.
Tommy Lee, the 62-year-old former helicopter pilot, has bottom set. But Tom, of course, has top pair and is going to make a wager thinking it's good right now.
Should have bet it the last time, but he did not. Now things are backfiring. He's bet. And look at this. Tom Lee going to muscle him over the top with his 3 of a kind. Makes it 340,000 to go. Frankenberger has gone away.
Back around to Tom. And you're saying to yourself, hey, the guy checked on the flop. Now all of a sudden he's going to come out firing? What is going on here?
Well, this is an additional 249,000. And Tom Brabant there is on the short stack. What a nice fold, though. The first hand going to Mr. Tom Lee.
Well, the 62-year-old takes the chip lead after winning that pot.
His name is Tommy Lee, but he's not the one that had the attraction to Pamela Anderson, of course. There's his family on the rail. Now the antes are going up to 4,000. Blinds 12 and 24 right now.
Now action's on Jared Jaffee. This is the guy we call the 2-day lawyer. We've seen him before in the WPT. Went to law school, worked for a law firm 2 days, quit to become a poker player.
He's folded. Kyle folds. Now Tom Lee again. Going to raise with just an ace-5.
And he won the last pot with an ace-7, so he's on fire.
Brunetti out. Frankenberger not going to play. It's around to Brabant.
Well, Tom's in the big blind with the 6-3 of hearts. Just got pushed around by the older guy a moment ago. So this is experience versus youth. And look at this, Vince. Can you believe it? The short stack, Tom Brabant is getting out what looks like raisin chips, even though he's only got a 6-3.
175.
175,000 he's betting here.
Very creative with just a 6-3. A lot of guts.
Well, what a good time to do it. His opponent's only got an ace-5 offsuit.
Yeah, he might have picked up something on Tom Lee not being that strong. Let's see if it's going to work here.
That's the one thing about Tommy Lee. We know he's fearless at the table, but when you get re-raised and only have an ace-5 offsuit, then you just shoot the card straight in the muck.
Well, he's taking his time here.
All in.
And look at this. He's going over the top all in.
Unbelievable. Tommy Lee moving all in with just an ace-5 offsuit. Nice play by him there. Wow.
Oh, man, and it's going to just spoil the hopes of Brabant.
I guarantee you, all those young kids that think those old guys can't play, well, here's a young guy that's getting a lesson and getting schooled by this old guy right now.
Well, the winner of this event has often been an elder statesman. Can 63-year-old Tom Lee join their ranks? Don't go away. We'll be right back with more exciting poker brought to you by ClubWPT.com.
Season 7 here at the Legends, I made the final table. I finished in 6th. Took a bit of a bad beat.
Here comes the flop. An ace comes right on the flop. You see the disappointed look in Kyle's face.
The feeling? Yeah, I felt like puking on the table at the time. Did not feel good.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com. I'm Vince Van Patten, alongside Mike Sexton, where 6 players remain.
6 players tonight fighting it out for that coveted WPT title and the $750,000 that goes to our winner tonight. 3 of these players, the guys in seats 1, 2, and 3, have been at a WPT final table before. The other 3, it's the first time for them.
All right, the action's been folded around to the New Yorker, Andy Frankenberger. And he has got a Jack-9 offsuit with the button, and it looks like he's going to push. Makes it 60,000 to go. Right behind him, though, Tom Brabant has picked up a pair of kings.
Now, Tom's been kicked around the first couple pots, but now he's got the cards to do some kicking of his own here. I think when you're on a short stack, you can't fool around here.
But he's going to fool around, just calls it.
I'm not fond of this play. That prices the big blind end to call, but Jaffee throws the ace high away. So here we go. Let's see if the slow play works. Oh, and it might, as Andy has now flopped the top pair. He's got 2 jacks.
And Brabant going to dig the hole, put the twigs and the leaves over it, waiting for the sucker to fold in. Will it be Andy?
Well, you raise with a jack 9, you flop top pair. Certainly you're going to like it. So Andy is reaching for chips, and he's going to bet 150,000.
Now Titan Tom, 25 years old, going to look back at the hand like he doesn't really know what he has.
I just can't believe it. He's on a short stack. I just can't imagine he's not going to move in here.
Mullen.
And he does the correct thing, pushes it all in.
I call.
And Andrew's going to call with top pair, and you can't blame him for that. He just got reeled in because Tom did not re-raise before the flop here. And as the cards lie, Tom Brabant.
Come on.
He's called Titan Tom because he played baseball at the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. Their nickname is the Titans. And right now, Titan Tom trying to hit a home run and stay alive, and does it right on the turn as the king comes off. Andy is drawing dead, as we say. No card on the river can save him. The deuce of spades. So there you go. The former baseball player knocking it out of the park right there.
Yeah, goes to his friends, gets the high fives. He's excited. Tom Brabant back in action.
Obviously, you know, I'm not trying to show you up, you know. You're allowed to celebrate. That's a big hand.
I'm not going to go ahead and boast that I'm better than everyone at the table because I don't know what they've done in the past. I don't know their experience. I don't know how they play poker necessarily that well. But I have the confidence to think that I'm the best. If you don't have that confidence at a final table, you probably shouldn't be at it.
So Titan Tom is living up to his name and gets off the short stack after doubling up through Andy Frankenberger. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more action from the Legends of Poker.
Brought to you by ClubWPT.com.
The World Poker Tour is brought to you by ClubWPT.com. Play poker for your share of over $100,000 in cash and prizes for only $19.95 a month. Never lose a dime playing poker. Guaranteed.
People ask me, like, were you intimidated by Jonathan Little?
Jonathan Little has done it.
Two-time WPT champion. He's taking his title worth $1.1 million tonight.
I actually never heard of the guy. I knew that he would call a big hand for me because all day he was saying, oh, you don't have it, you know, or just, he didn't put me on the hands that I had. And so I knew that he was steaming a bit with me and that if I got him in a big pot, you know, he would go all the way. I think that's the ultimate form of flattery when people tell you you're not playing well and you're winning. I mean, bottom line is look at my chip stack. How am I not playing well?
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com. Amateur player Andy Frankenberger proudly beating Jonathan Little at his own game. Now back to the action where we find Andy in a hand with Tom Lee, who's raised it up with ace-king offsuit.
It's been folded around to Andy, who looks down at pocket fives. Andy's a double major from Duke in economics and Russian. Very bright guy. He is going to raise here. Comes over the top, makes it 160,000 to go with the speed limit.
Into Tom Brabant, who got lucky in the last few hands, and he's going to fold it back on Tom Lee.
Rough idea. How much you got? Rough idea, please.
2.3.
2.3.
2.4, 2.3.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Vance, we saw Tom Lee paying ace-7 offsuit pretty strong. He re-raised the guy all in with an ace-5 offsuit a minute ago. I just can't imagine he's not coming over the top here with this big hand.
Tom Lee, a tough customer, well-respected, well-liked. It's like that old commercial. Nobody does it like Tom Lee.
I warned you about that. Well, he plays wildly according to a lot of the players. You know, changes gears a lot. You don't know what he's going to do, but I know this. He's played 9 WPT events. He's cashed 4 times. That is incredible. He's just calling here, does not re-raise with the ace-king.
Let's go a bit faster, boys. Let's go.
And look at this. Kyle says, let's play a little faster. He's getting impatient over there.
Now, flop 10-4 deuce with 2 clubs. Pretty good flop for a pair of fives. Andy knows it. Looks like he's reaching for chips to make the continuation bet.
Well, he's going to get aggressive. 200,000. Tom Lee hitting none of that board.
And Vince, in my mind, if you don't re-raise before the flop with this hand, you just muck it here.
Well, he is the chip leader. He could afford this. He's unorthodox, this guy. He's liable to do anything, as we've seen before.
We need to get a clock.
Yeah.
Can we get a clock?
Well, there's Kyle Wilson, the Canadian, asking for a clock. What that means is the tournament director comes over and gives the player 1 minute to act on his hand. If he doesn't act in that time, his hand is automatically dead.
I just keep calling the clock. I want to play.
He and Jaffee both agree. Get a clock on this guy. And look at this. They're going to push him out pretty fast. He is folded. Did he get pressured by Kyle there a little bit? Let's take a look at the Wonder Cam. A king comes up on the turn. Oh, man. Tom Lee, perhaps forced to play fast, folds the hand. He would have won.
The problem is, man, some of these players don't know about the slogan that we know about. You think long, you think wrong. So why think long? Boom. Make a quick decision to move on.
All right, back to the action. Folded around to Andy Frankenberger, who started this event. As the chip leader, he has been whittled away. This time he's got a queen-9 of clubs.
Well, this is the battle of the blinds here. Andy in a small blind with queen-9 of clubs. He's going to raise it, makes it 65,000 to go.
Into his old nemesis, Tom Brabant, who has an interesting 7-6 of hearts.
Yep, he's got the suited connectors, the 76 trombones. He's going to make the call.
Two-way action.
And flop comes king, queen, 7 with 2 spades. Well, Andy's checking here. I'm surprised he'd check queens in that spot.
Hey, flopped queens, and Brabant with 7's going to check as well. Here comes the turn. Oh, wow, another 7.
Well, ironically, the reverse of this happened a moment ago to Tom, where his opponent hit 3 7s on the turn to beat him when he had top pair. In fact, they were queens.
That's right, and Frankenberger's got to bet 60,000, and Brabant going to just slow call him with the 3 of a kind. Huh, going to the river.
Well, a jack comes off. You're sitting in Andy's seat. The opponent didn't bet on the flop, didn't raise on the turn. You think your queens are probably the best hand, so you're going to fire again here.
And Frankenberger does. That's 60,000.
That's a small bet, though. Sort of a defensive bet, sort of a feeler bet. Recognize the pot's got over 270,000 in it, so let's see if Tom can figure that bet out. It looks like he is getting some raising chips out, and indeed he is. Going to make it 200,000 now.
Titan Tom going to put pressure on the Frankenberger.
I call.
Will the burger get charged? Yes, it does. He has paid him off.
So Tom Brabant taking down that pot.
Nice hand, man.
Low played the 3 7s on the turn, and it paid off. He's got an extra bet in on the river.
Wow.
Nice hand.
Frankenberger coming out as the chip leader, now in trouble, taking hits from around the table. Well done for Brabant, though.
Don't go away. We'll be back with more exciting poker brought to you by ClubWPT.com.
We're really pleased to be hosting our 9th season of the World Poker Tour Legends of Poker Championship. One of the new additions I love so much is the Royal Flush Girls. They have certainly created a lot of energy on the floor. It's always great when Mike and Vince are at the bite.
That's true.
Oh, we love it when the World Poker Tour comes to town.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com. We're at the Bicycle Casino.
Well, 6 players left fighting it out for this title. 3 have been at a WPT final table before, 3 haven't. All 6 looking for their first WPT title. Fold it around to the button here. Tom Brabant looks down at a pair of 7s, got the 2 walking sticks. He's a pro player out of Huntington Beach, California. College baseball player. He's going to raise it, makes it 75,000 to go. Around to the 2-day lawyer, Jaffee. He looks down at a pair of 9s. Now he's on the short stack here. That's the kind of hand you might just want to ship it with.
Mullen.
And there it is.
Well, that's what he's done. That's what I would do with that hand in this spot.
Kyle Wilson out. And back on Brabant, and he's made the call.
Well, Tom calls with the 2 7s. He's hoping his opponent's got 2 overcards or an under pair. Unfortunately for him, the opponent's got the dreaded over pair.
Good luck, Jared.
Domination by the 2-day lawyer, Jaffee. Let's see if he can get lucky with his 9s.
Well, it's come 6-5 deuce. So far, so good for Jared. He's well out in front.
We are a little faster.
Tom's going to need some help. Needs to catch a 7 or 2 runners to make a straight. 2 runners to make a flush would do it as well, but needs help.
Now a 10 shows up on the turn. No help to Brabant.
Well, we're down to the river. Well, a deuce comes off, so Jared Jaffee doubling up there.
Look at his crew.
Over high-fiving his buddies. Says, that's why I got out of being a lawyer. And Vince, of course, we can't stop talking about this guy because he went to law school, took a job as a lawyer, quit after 2 days to become a poker player, and here he is out here in the World Poker Tour.
What do your parents say about that one?
Prior to this, I made the Southern Poker Championship final table. I think my friends counted it. I might have been called the 2-day lawyer like 20+ times.
2-day lawyer?
The 2-day lawyer.
2-day lawyer.
2-day lawyer.
I think it's funny. Everybody else thinks it's funny. You know, that's what I was. I was a lawyer for 2 days, and now I'm here. So at least this is validating my decision.
All right, back to the action. Kyle Wilson's holding a monster pocket aces. The 2-day lawyer looks down to suited connectors, 7-8 of spades.
That's the kind of hand you like to see flops with. So he's probably going to play this hand, but better flop a lot to crack these aces.
Oh,
he does make the call.
Danger lurks here for Jared Jaffee.
And it might lurk for Kyle. Now flop comes 6-6 deuce. No help to either player. Action on Jared. Of course, Kyle doesn't need any help. He's got the 2 aces.
Now Kyle with a monster hand, gonna check again.
Well, slow playing it. Makes it look like he's got 2 big cards that aren't paired, and now an 8 comes off. This could spell trouble for Jared. He's gonna check the 8s here.
And Kyle's gonna make it 150,000.
Well, Vince, Jared's very well raised here. The guy didn't bet on the flop.
There is.
And that's exactly what's happening. That slow play on the flop by Kyle Wilson could work to perfection for him right here because his opponent has check raised on the turn.
Whoa, makes it 350,000 to go.
Now because there's a possible straight out there, a possible flush out there. His opponent might have another pair. I think you got to come over the top here. You can only slow play so long in poker.
I'm all in.
And there it is. He has gone all in. Doesn't care anymore. Got me beat. You got me beat.
I'll tell you, a tough decision for Jared here. The way this hand is played, he knows the only way he's beat here is if his opponent deliberately slow played a giant pair on the flop. Can the 2-day lawyer solve the case here?
Easy to read a jury than Kyle Wilson.
Boy. And you can read his facial expressions. It equals pain. He makes the right lay down. He does fold it, and Kyle Wilson picks up the pot.
Kyle Wilson's friends on the rail celebrating.
You pick a pair. That's a good check for me then.
So nicely done by Kyle Wilson. Don't go away. We'll be back with more exciting poker brought to you by ClubWPT.com.
The World Poker Tour, brought to you by ClubWPT.com.
Welcome back to the Bicycle Casino.
There will be a new champion of Legends this season as reigning champ Prahlad Friedman busted out on day 1. But before heading back to the Malibu Surf, this seasoned pro shared his secret to staying happily married to the game. Is it tough to play in a tournament where you're the reigning champion?
It's like any other tournament. All I'm trying to do ever in poker is play each hand to the best of my ability. So, but it was a little exciting though, because I was like back to back would be sick.
That would be sick. You definitely do not seem like the typical poker player, you know, like what the stereotype.
No, not at all. I have like so many other interests that I'm pursuing. I've been learning all kind of languages.
Give me a taste.
Shut up.
Japanese?
Yeah, all kind of ones. Yeah.
Arigato. That's all I know.
Konnichiwa.
So you're married, your wife is a poker player. It sounds like a recipe for disaster.
No, it works out well. We don't talk about poker that much because we're interested in other things and that's all we do. It's great because we understand the highs and lows. Sometimes you get a little edgy when you're losing and we understand that, so it's cool. It works out.
Is it possible to be a professional poker player and not go broke?
It's very unlikely.
because most everyone I know, if they've been playing for 5, 10 years, they've gone broke at least once. Many people multiple times. It's a lot harder than people think.
So is that your secret, just playing a little bit lower than you think you should?
My wife has definitely settled me down. I used to play anyone, whether they're Phil Ivey or Doyle Brunson or the late Chip Reese. I felt like I was the best in the world, and I wanted to challenge everyone. I felt like I could beat anyone.
But it's not about that.
It's not about that. It's about just having a good life. You know, I'm not like trying to get super rich anymore, you know, and it's a good feeling to not have that desire.
Well, that's our friend Prahlad Freeman, our token poker hippie. I used to play poker with him when his name was John. I mean it.
Well, there you see our leaders. 62-year-old Tommy Lee out in front with $3.5 million, but the Canadian Kyle Wilson right on his heels.
He's going to raise with just king 5 of diamonds, makes it 70,000 to go.
Andy Frankenberger going to make the call with the king 7 of hearts. King 7 versus king 5. Here's the flop. Queen Jack 5.
Action on Frankenberger. He's checking.
Well, Kyle has bottom pair here. He's also checking.
All right, turn card coming up.
Ace of diamonds comes off. Andy now with an ace-high straight draw. Needs a 10 for a straight. He's going to lead out and bet here.
60,000. But Wilson with a flush draw and a straight draw is going to put in a raise. Makes it 300,000 to go.
That's a nice bet by Kyle Wilson here. If his opponent had a pair of queens or a weak ace, he could well throw it away here.
Andy Frankenberger, an amateur player, but a solid one. Is going to fold the hand. Nicely done.
Kyle Wilson taking down that pot. He said whatever money he wins, he's just going to use it to gamble bigger.
That's the spirit. All right, action on Frankenberger from New York City. He's going to fold this one. Tom Braband.
He's got a Jack 9 here. Ironically, what Tom said he's going to do with his money is invest it in real estate. So the former baseball player on the short stack now, but Vince, look at this. Going to raise it up front, as we say.
He's a gambler in early position with just Jack 9. Makes it 75,000 to go.
It's a daring play here.
Two-day lawyer goes out. Kyle Wilson not going to play. Tommy Lee ejects. And now it's on the restaurant owner, Franco Brunetti. Has an Italian restaurant in Hollywood right by here.
Well, he's got the big blind here, but a pretty nice hand. Ace 10 of hearts. He's going to make the call here. So here comes the flop. It's come 7, 6, 3 with 2 spades. No help to either player. Franco quickly checks. And Tom going to continue with the larceny here. Going to make the continuation bet with nothing.
Yep. Looks like 80,000. Now Brunetti. Oh, this is surprising. He's going to stick around. He's called it.
Just called. Must think his ace 10's the best hand here, which indeed it is.
Oh, he gets the 10 there on the turn. Pair of 10s.
Now this card's going to give him a lot more confidence here.
You think?
Yeah, he's not going to check it anymore in case his opponent's got something like king queen. He's going to lead right out and bet 155,000.
Come on.
What is going on? Brabant going all in, and a quick call by Brunetti.
Well, the former baseball player about to strike out here. He's going to need an 8 for a straight or a jack to win this pot to stay alive.
He just thought he could muscle out.
Oh, boy.
The restaurant, man.
The baseball player down about 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th, and it's 0-2 on him.
Can the baseball player get lucky?
Oh, he does.
He did it.
He hits an 8. And Beth, look how fast he jumped up. I guarantee he never ran to first base that fast in his life. Oh, man. That's like taking the spaghetti and throwing it right in the restaurant guy's face. Unbelievable.
What a card, and awful for Franco Brunetti. That's one spicy meatball.
Oh, boy.
6 players remain here on the WPT. We're coming back for more. Stay with us.
We are back in Los Angeles, where just before the break, Tom Brabant hit lightning on the river to double up through Franco Brunetti. One player who knows Titan Tom's play better than most is Tony Dunst, who, as always, gives it to us straight in this Raw Deal. Brought to you by Rise.
I'm Tony Dunst, also known as Bond 18 online. Let me begin by saying that Tom Brabant and I have played together online, and I've got serious respect for his game. He's aggressive, balanced, and very experienced, but unfortunately, all his talent wasn't evidenced in this hand against Franco. I think possibly out of frustration with being the short stack, Titan Tom made the mistake of trying to outplay and bully the more amateur player. Choosing the wrong time to get out of line can result in a weaker player turning you into a reckless player. Let's break it down. Tom begins the hand by raising Jack 9-0 on the hijack with 21 big blinds, which is marginal to begin with, though not a bad idea considering he's raising into the least experienced player on the table. He makes a standard continuation bet on the flop, and Franco calls with his overcards. It's Tom's turn play that I have a really big problem with, and here's why. The 10 on the turn doesn't really provide much in the way of a scare card for Tom to represent, and the board now contains enough draw possibilities that it's not crazy to think a less experienced player may bet out with a stronger hand, afraid of that potential river suck out. When Franco bets out, he's doing so for a third of Tom's remaining stack, leaving Tom little fold equity on his shove unless Franco really is holding nothing. When Tom moves in, he's laying Franco an excellent price, getting about 3-1.
I call.
I think that in a more level-headed moment, Tom likely wouldn't shove this turn. I feel a good deal of his motivation comes from having someone he knows is a weaker player than him trying to bet him out of a pot right after he picked up draw equity, and the frustration that comes from not having things go your way at the crucial times. Despite his mistake, Lady Luck visited Tom on the river, but she wasn't the only woman on his side during the hand, and if his girlfriend's hilariously loud and over-the-top reaction is any indication, I can assure you that his neighbors already believe that Titan Tom is quite the Titan.
We are back in the action where Franco Brunetti is all in and at risk. Let's get down to Mike and Vince.
Well, he lost that last spot on a horrible beat on the river. Now he's short stack. Franco Brunetti's all in here with king high against the 8 high of Kyle Wilson, who's looked him up. Now Kyle's gonna have to get lucky to eliminate him and see if he can do it. Oh, he did so far. He's out-flopped him. Kyle Wilson out in front with the 2 6s. For Franco to stay alive in this tournament, he's gonna have to catch a king or 2 runners to make a straight or a flush.
And the Kyle Railbirds rooting their man on. Turn card coming up.
Well, the 9 comes off, so we're off to the river here. Franco Brunetti must catch a king on the river, otherwise he's going to be out in 6th place.
Well, it's a queen of diamonds. It's not going to do it for Franco Brunetti. Got this tournament through a satellite. A real gentleman. Tough beats here tonight.
Well, Vince, as Franco Brunetti walks out in 6th place, this is also a good time to tell everyone about the World Poker Tours, ClubWPT.com.
Well, Mike, I'm not just saying this, but I love ClubWPT.com. It is amazing. For only $19.95 a month, anybody can play. You play in tournaments, you can win prizes, you can win cash. I mean, it is incredible. It is the best deal in poker.
Folks, if you like playing poker, give Club WPT a try. Guarantee you're going to love it. Okay, let's get back to the table.
All right, action goes to Kyle Wilson. Our Canadian, a lot of momentum with a king deuce, and the button is going to raise. Tom Lee out. Frankenberger, though, with a queen jack, is going to play. Here's the flop.
Oh, a nice flop for Andy as he flop top pair comes jack 6-5.
Yep, and he's first to act.
Look at this, he's going to lead right out and bet, Vince. 100,000. Kyle, always suspicious as to why a guy would lead out into a pre-flop raiser. And wondering if he can make a raise here, if he'll just take the pot away from this guy.
Well, he's got nothing. He'd have to be doing it with a lot of heart, and he's going to try it. And he's made it 325,000. Whoa.
I call.
And Frankenberger not going anywhere. He has made this call.
Well, those are not the words Kyle wanted to hear. Well, now the board pairs 6s. So neither player crazy about that card. Fearful that their opponent might have a 6 in their hand.
Frankenberger with top pair still, though.
300.
He's going to bet 300,000.
Well, not a big bet into a pot that's got nearly 900,000 in it.
Don't forget, Andy Frankenberger came into this tournament as the chip leader. He's been whittled away, punched around. He needs this pot badly.
You hit that 6, Andy?
Hmm?
You have a 6 in your hand?
How much behind?
No. I'm just wondering what you have.
Oh, jeez. I'm like,
you call on the
close to
flop,
it.
and then you bet the turn.
Little confusion there.
Well, Kyle's wondering if he can raise one more time, would he win this pot? Chances are he might, but what to do now if you're Kyle Wilson? He took a stab at it, re-raised on the flop, that didn't work. Will he try it again?
I'm gonna fold.
He's gonna lay it down. So Andy Frankenberger taking down that pot.
You didn't have a thing, did you, Andy?
To quote my friend over there, would you like me to lie?
You don't have to.
I'd like to hear the lie. Find out how well he does it. He's tough, this Andy. He's a former equity derivatives trader. I have no idea what that could possibly be. But we will move on. And now it's Tom Lee, who's been taking a sabbatical lately, playing very tight. He folds this hand.
Over to Andy. He's out as well. Under the 25-year-old from Huntington Beach, California, Tom Brabant. He's got the 4-5 of diamonds, the suited connectors. Just got lucky and won a pot a minute ago.
Yeah, Tom's a sneaky player. Likes to play a lot of different hands. Very creative player. And this time, proving that again, he's going to raise it to 100,000. Now Mr. Brooklyn, Jared Jaffee. Jared's got a decent queen jack here. He's considering this.
Yeah. Former collegiate baseball player raises with the 5-4. But remember, Vince, these other players saw him try to steal a pot a minute ago with a jack-9 offsuit. They know the jig is up for this guy stealing all these pots. And Jared's going to make the call with the queen jack.
Kyle Wilson with just 9-7, also going to make the call. Three-way action.
Feels like he's getting priced in, so 60% of the field playing this pot.
Going to the flop. Who will be lucky?
Oh. All three players have flopped a pair. Jared has flopped top pair. He's going to check.
Yep.
Kyle's flopped middle pair. He also checks.
And now a continuation bet. Nope. Brabant also checking. To the turn we go.
Oh, and a 7 comes off.
Oh, no.
How many times tonight at this table have we seen the slot machine come up? 3 7s.
For the Canadian. Now he's been checked into now how to play a 3 of a kind. What a card for him.
And he's going to bet right out with him, Vince.
Yeah, it looks like 200,000.
Now Tom's saying to himself, this guy really got something, or he's just making a stab at this pot because we didn't bet on the flop.
Wow, Tom is going to give a little something here to it with just a pair of 4s, 200 grand.
Well, he's going to make the call. And now Jared's got a tough decision. Remember, nobody bet the flop. Now all of a sudden it's been bet and called on the turn. I think you get away from this hand, even if you got the best hand here.
No, he's going to do the opposite. He's shoved.
Well, Jared doesn't think so.
Please.
He has shoved his stack in over the top. Now Kyle's thinking to himself, okay, do I re-raise this guy behind me? How to play this properly?
Well, what he's thinking about is, does this guy have me beat?
Well, you can't lay down 3 7s, though. Not with a small stack like this.
Well, you still got a man behind you, remember that.
Call.
But Kyle is going to make the call.
And Tom Brabant goes away.
Got a 7, right?
I have a 7.
What a disaster here for the 2-day lawyer.
Good game.
Well, the 2-day lawyer's got 2 outs here. Must catch a jack on the river to win this pot. Otherwise, he's going to be out in 5th place, and it'll be case closed for the lawyer. Kyle, as you can see, not jumping for joy until that river card hits the board. All he's got to do is dodge a jack to win this pot.
Here comes the river.
But it's a king. So that's going to do it for the 2-day lawyer, Jared Jaffee, out tonight in 5th place.
Well, a big effort for Jared. Disappointing, but he is going to take home $86,000. And just like that, we have 4 players remaining at the Legends of Poker.
Well, it wasn't in the cards this evening for 2-time final tableist Jared Jaffee, tonight's 5th place finisher. But things seem to be falling into place for Kyle Wilson. Join us again for WPT's continuing coverage of the Legends of Poker at the Bicycle Casino. Until then, for Mike Sexton and Vince Van Patten in Los Angeles, I'm Kimberly Lansing. Thanks for watching. See you next time, right here on the WPT.
We just play poker now.
What do you have betting so big?
Can I see your cards, please?
Show me bluff, maybe $100.
Well, we've got the race situation here between the two young guns at the table.
And out come the beautiful Royal Flush girls. This is why everyone plays cards.
Everybody on their feet. Here's the
Come
flop.
on, come on, come on.
We are down to the river. He has done it. The World Poker Tour is brought to you by ClubWPT.com. Never lose a dime playing poker. Guaranteed.